and his team are going to stand together and fight this disease. I've come this way before. Never been open door. Circumstances navigate the path, and life happened all so fast. No, we got no reason that you see. I know we couldn't make it. Even when I'm off beat, I still land on my feet, and nothing can shake me. Cause I know life took a hold. This is where I am destined to be. I'm not ready to give up. I've been living the miracle of life. Life's a make a no so. Then quickly they'll come for yo. Games to play, can't take it from snow. Cause the devil is alive. I'm telling you the truth. It's all in what you do. Some things you gotta do. Fight for meal, see the blessing in it. From much expecting, much is given. When I made the living, now I'm giving back to children. Never let the power come first before your happiness. Yes, you can be the best if you go the distance. Mix a little sweat with your persistence. You know that the best things are never instant. Just shine, that is real. If the woman is true, you know backing down. For the children, it's a given. Gotta give it, be a blessing. It's my personal statement. Run the game like I'm acing. Learn to develop patience, determined to be the greatest. Yeah, bobbing and weaving, they changing up like the seasons. Ridiculous to the grind, so I do it for all my people. Tapping in competition, back up against the rope. She fighting for recognition. I'm fighting just to promote equality where we lacking. My parents are slow on our road. I'm confident we are making you focus on common goals. Yeah, give back, give love, give things to never give up, stand tall to fight another day. 2 toes, 2 feet, I stand on. I'll go back home and fight this final round. Let's make the love song. Everything they'll come for your road. Can't take it personal. Cause the devil is alive. I'm telling you the truth. It's all in what you do. Some things you gotta do. I'm gonna show that I'm get to those in me. So we're gonna win this battle, but not the team. I want this we got to be
Mic check. Okay, good. Can y'all hear me? All right, good. You can always tell when your kid's been in your room, man. everything was disconnected, man. Anyways, man, hopefully everybody's doing well, man. Welcome to the show. Can y'all hear me just fine? I just want to make sure before Steve, let me make sure. Can y'all hear me? Yes? No? Okay, good. Y'all can hear me. All right, good, man. Welcome to the show, man. I came in early, put the kids to bed early, man. They destroyed my office. What up, Steve? What up, Aunt Fresh, man? Southside Tone, J Real, Brothers UK, Donald, Lane. What's up, man? What's up, Rob? Fat Cats. man, I appreciate everybody coming in here just a little bit early, man. And yeah, man, I hopefully everyone is okay under these conditions, man. And yeah, we got a great show tonight, man. Where we can just talk boxing. You know what I mean? We can talk boxing, you know. We can take a 2-hour break, you know what I mean, and talk boxing, or however long Jack Reiss wants to stay, and we can just talk boxing for 2 hours, you know what I mean? And we'll go from there. You know what I mean? So that's where we're at, man. And I know we're emotionally exhausted. That's why I came in here a little bit early so everyone could just breathe a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I was like, let me start the show a little bit early, man, just so we can have a good time in here, man. Somebody gonna say something funny, you know what I mean? We can go from there. But I have David Benavidez and family tomorrow. I believe I'm gonna call them in the morning to confirm, or not unless they text me between now and then. And Friday I have Daphne Springs. Y'all gonna love that. Y'all gonna love her spirit. And then Saturday we got Liz. Y'all need to come in for that. Sunday we got Ak from the Ak and Barack show, and Monday just confirmed we got Brian Custard. That's gonna be a show that y'all gonna want to chime in on. You know what I mean? And he's welcoming the Paul Malignaggi conversation. So Monday we got that, and then Thursday, all right, I'm gonna space out my guests. I'm only gonna do 2 guests a week. All right, I'm gonna do my best, I should say. You know what I mean? And we got polygamy. So that'll be interesting, man. You know what I mean? So we got a good show today, man. Jack Reiss is as I tell you guys, and he's in here already, man. You 4 minutes early, man. I didn't even get a chance to give you an introduction, man. I can't hear you, but I can see you, man. And he's so excited. He's coming in early, man. So I'm gonna just beam him in, man. Hall of Fame referee, man. For those of you who don't know, he does a great job in the community where he's at, man. And he serves his community well, and he's been a great asset to the sport of boxing, man. None other than Jack Reiss, man. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. Thank you. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. WBO tonight? You got the WBO shirt tonight?
That's right. Those guys are awesome. They fully endorse this training course, this boxing referee training course that we're doing. They actually fully endorsed us, and I'm wearing their stuff for sure.
Okay. And before we get into that, let's plug your training camp that you're doing for referees and stuff for the average Joe like me, correct?
For anyone, exactly. For yourself, for a guy who is a referee, a guy who has been a referee for a long time and wants to up his game, someone brand new that wants to be a referee. It's really good for the media. It's good for boxing writers, boxing commentators, people like yourself, for sure, because you'll get a inside look at what we have to think about and what we have to consider, and it'll make you a lot more educated, that when you're watching, you'll be way ahead of the game. You'll be saying, nope, he should have done this. And you'll be able to, call guys out on it, but also support guys when they were, between a rock and a hard place and they have to make a decision.
And email me that link so I can post it. And that way throughout the show, the fans can go to it. That way it'll have great replay value as well.
Okay.
Just email it to me. How was your day today, man? Staying corona free?
Yeah, I did a lot of training today. We, the athletic commission, we do a podcast. I'm sorry, a Zoom meeting every Wednesday, and I got one tomorrow, and then Friday I got a commission meeting that we're all doing on Zoom. The commission meeting on Friday will be about how we're coming back. They're trying to pass emergency regulations to get us back to boxing. So the stakeholders will be there and the commission will be there to vote on some safety regulations that we're trying to get into effect. And June 9th, they're doing the first boxing show in Vegas. You know about that, right?
Yeah, I just saw it today. I actually spoke to Bob. He told me last week.
There you go.
Yeah, that they're going to do it 2 nights a week for 3 months.
Yep. So they're coming here too. So.
Okay. So can you speak upon the opening of boxing in California, in the state of California?
Oh, absolutely. There's no secret. Nobody's hiding anything. And my boss, Andy Foster, and the commission, John Carvelli and Martha Shenyukitas, have been in meetings with the governor's office for like a long time. The governor's office is really proactive. They want to get boxing back because boxing is going to be their test run to see if they can get baseball back. If we could do it with a small group, then they know they could do it with a larger group to get baseball back on TV and stuff like that. So they set plans in motion, and they wrote some regulations, emergency regulations, to get us back doing it safely. So they're going to be testing all the fighters on a 14-day period before the fights to make sure that they're COVID-free, testing the antibodies, testing them for the virus, but also testing for the antibodies to see if they've already had it and stuff like that. And then what we're going to be required to do, let me back up and say this, Frederick. So it's only going to be essential people there. And the smaller promoters are not going to be able to afford this initially. So it's going to be television shows, basically, because it's going to be done without a crowd. And only the essential people will be allowed in. Everybody who walks in the door will get tested, and the door is going to be opened for those people like 2 days early. So we're going to have to go to the shows 2 days early, get tested, be quarantined, stay in the hotel before the actual show. And the fighters are going to be tested a couple of times throughout. And then you're going to be in a holding area until your fight comes up. Nobody allowed ringside unless they're pertinent to that specific fight. They're right now working out the details on if we're going to be wearing, as a referee and judge, if we're going to be wearing masks or any kind of safety goggles. And they were looking at the stuff that the NBA uses for when guys get injuries, those big sports goggles. They were looking at that for us. And I think it's a little overkill, because if they're testing everybody, we shouldn't have to worry about that. And me personally, I'm willing to take my chances, knock on wood, God forbid anything happen, but I'm willing to take my chances. I'm ready to get back in there, like and a lot of other guys too. If they want me to wear a mask and goggles, I will. I'd rather not, but I will.
Okay. Now with that being said, is that a segue to the NFL and NBA? Is that, does your commission are in cahoots with the NFL or anything like that as it relates to competitive sports or combative sports, I should say?
Well, we're in a relationship. Our commission is run by the Department of Consumer Affairs that has the blanket authority over all kinds of public assemblages. So we may not be directly linked to the NBA and the NFL, but the DCA is. So the plan we set forth, it goes up and then it goes down to those guys in their stuff. We're in combative sports. They're in like entertainment, just say, right? So it's definitely going to affect everybody, and they're all talking with each other. So yes. Okay.
Now let's jump into your career, man. How did you get into boxing? We gonna talk about your decisions on it. People are dying to hear about what you got about Deontay Wilder. We gonna jump in that.
Anything you guys want to talk about? Fine with me.
You and I don't have millions of conversations about that. But talk about how you got into boxing as it relates to somebody just asked, how did you get into refereeing? And
how far you want me to go back? Because in fact, it's funny because I talked to Kenny Bayless and Tony Weeks and Joe Cortez and guys here in California, Pat Russell, all these guys, and we asked, I asked them, when did you fall in love with boxing? Because you can't do this as a part-time job. It's a full-time commitment. And if you don't have the passion for this sport, you're not going to do well, and you're not going to have the time to put into it to do well. So for me, I'm going to go back to when I was a kid. I'll never forget this. I was younger. I had an older brother, 2 years older than me. And my father was always encouraging us to fight each other, put on socks, put on gloves, beat each other up. Because my father did something with boxing, but he died when I was a young kid, and I don't know what he did. And I'll text you a picture. I got a picture of my father. Okay. 1928 on the beach, yoked, just ripped, standing in a boxing stance, and listening to my mother's stories about what he did and didn't do was tough because, she elaborated a little too much, I think. She wanted to always draw a beautiful rosy picture of my dad for me. And so she never really told me the bad side. Anyway, so as a kid, I remember, my older brother's friends would pick on me. They would hold me down and put pillows over my head or just put me in a closet and lock the door in the house, always wrestling, always fighting. But I remember this one day, one of his friends that wasn't too much bigger than me came to mess around with me while we were all together. And I just said, you know what? Not today, man. Just not today. And I had a fight with him as a kid, and I beat him. And I remember being on top of him, I had a bloody lip, and I was just throwing punches, and my brother and everybody pulled us off. But I remember getting off that kid and thinking to myself, I love this. I love fighting. this is great. And that passion, that love of competition, of fighting, just stayed with me. And as I get older, I went and I tried to get some boxing instruction, but the closest gym to me was Gleason's. And as a 12, 11-year-old kid, that was so far away, train ride for me as a kid. It was crazy to do that. So I meandered into a martial arts studio. I don't remember how old I was. And that martial arts studio, this gentleman named Louis Neglia in Brooklyn, and he ends up now, he's the feeder for the UFC. He does Ring of Combat, and all his guys go from his showcase into UFC. Dana White takes a lot of his guys. And I started learning boxing and kickboxing skills there, and I had a little bit of a amateur career doing that, and came out to California in 79. I was injured from a kickboxing match, full contact. Came out here to rest.
You fought a little bit.
And I fought a little bit, yeah. And then I was looking for a job. I got on the fire department, and then I ended up boxing for the fire department when we would fight the sheriffs and the LAPD. So I had, I loved boxing, I loved fighting, and I did all that stuff. And I always had it in the back of my mind, I want to get involved with pro sports somehow. And in my late 30s, I went for it. I started making phone calls and pursuing it. And I remember I didn't know very much about how it operated, how it worked. And the only boxing commission I knew was Nevada, because I'd seen Mark Ratner on TV so many times. So I called the Nevada State Athletic Commission. And Mark got on the phone. I couldn't believe it. He actually answered the phone because this was, back in the mid 90s. He goes, Nevada Athletic Commission, Mark Ratner. I go, Mr. Ratner, I'm Jack Reiss, and I want to be a referee. And I talked for 10 minutes without stopping about myself. And Mark was really very cordial and very nice to listen to me. And he was hysterical because he let me rant. And then he goes, Jack, it sounds like you might have something there. You might be a decent referee. He says, but why are you calling me? Why don't you call California Athletic Commission?
Okay, got you.
I didn't know. Right, I didn't know,
Obviously.
So I called the California Athletic Commission on his advice. And the lady, the secretary in Sacramento was Cara Chacon, Bobby Chacon's niece. Small world, right? And I kept asking her, what's it going to be? How can I do this? And she said, well, they're probably going to be having a class. And I waited about 1.5 years to 2 years, but they finally had that class. And I was one of these 100 guys that got into this class, 102 guys and women got into this class in 98. And about 9 of us passed.
Out of 109?
Yeah, it was serious stuff. It was a 3-year program. And I'll never forget this. Can I cuss? Am I allowed to cuss?
Take your time. Yeah, this is a barbershop, dog.
All right, I just want to make sure.
Wait till they start calling in. You really gonna know this the barbershop.
No, good. So I get into this class and it's hysterical. I sit down and I'm all excited. I can't believe I had a long road to get into the class. They were trying to hold me out, just like everybody else. The door didn't open easy. I was banging on the door. It was a long story, but when I finally got into the class, 100 plus guys, and it was totally fucking nepotistic. There was all these referees' sons and friends and daughters, and Marty Denkin's kids, Richard Steele's kid, Jim Jenkins' kids, all the sons of the referees or bankers or friends or something. And I was sitting there, and this lady who ends up becoming a commissioner 20 years later is sitting next to me. She's taking the course, and she slaps me on the shoulder. She goes, so who's your fucking father? How'd you get here? And I turned around and I said, nobody. I go, how about yours? She goes, nobody. And I said, we're fucked. But it turned out pretty good. And 9 or 10 of us made it.
Beautiful.
That was it.
What was your first championship fight?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
Nope. I don't remember. I don't even know how many I've done. I couldn't even tell you.
What's the first fight you remember then? Like you was like, man.
First fight I ever did was March 5th of 99. I'm gonna mess up his name. This guy George, he's a trainer here in LA now. And I can't remember his last name or who he fought right now. You caught me off guard. But a great guy. And I've seen him ever since. And I got somewhere, not here in the house now, but it's in the garage wrapped up, a picture of me holding his hand up, my very first fight. I did a color photostat copy of the check, $50 with a picture of me and him that night over it.
Yeah. Now, Your most notable fights were obviously here in LA. I'm not sure if you can see the chat. Are you reading the chat, by the way?
How do I do it?
Okay, just click
Right,
the comments on the right. Yeah. And
there it is.
Yeah, perfect. So so you can see all that. So your two most notable fights. But first, I want to commend you because we got on the plane that day, and we've disagreed before in fights. We don't. They're going to ask you the questions. It was 1 second left in the last fight that you and I caught the plane back with from Tennessee, and people got mad at you. And I equated that analogy to because he didn't pass your quote unquote sobriety test, right? That's the analogy that I used.
Exactly.
And I said, well,
the referee sobriety test. I'm glad you're putting it out there. It's a nomenclature that the fans need to hear and need to understand.
Yeah.
And Frederick, let me say this. It's now in the rule book of the ABC.
Really?
Yeah, man. It was a long time coming, but it's in the rule book.
Do I get credit for that?
You were helping me. You pushed me enough. Yeah.
And what I told him was,
everybody wants credit, man.
And what I told him was, if that was a driver of a car, would you allow him to get back in the car and drive home? And I said, absolutely not. You know what I mean? The guy had 10 seconds. All he had to do was keep his distance, and it's two-pronged. Do you reward the guy for going 10 rounds and lasting 1 second?
Nope.
Or do you reward the guy who's busting his ass to get in position to basically knock him out? You know,
I don't look at it as a reward. And I want everybody to know this. I didn't stop the fight for safety because I knew he wasn't going to get hit anymore. But I couldn't fake this. I couldn't stall and let the bell ring. I was considering that Abel Ramos put Brian Peralta in that condition, and the condition was I would have never let him continue if there was more time on the clock. He won the fight. Ramos won the fight and deserved the TKO victory. So I know it wasn't a popular thing to do, but I want to do what's fair. Sure. I definitely want to do what's fair.
Now let's work backwards. September 29th, we had Earl Spence and Sean Porter. Yeah. Talk us through the in the fight. Talk us the energy in the fight and what you saw and how you felt.
It was one of those top-notch, high-profile, intense fights. You knew both guys were coming in shape and were coming to bring their A game. There was a lot of tension behind the scenes. Errol's trainer, Derek, what's his
Derek James.
Derek James, great guy. He trained some other guys also. Charlo, right?
Yeah, Charlo. Jamal Charlo.
And so I've worked with him before.
Excuse me.
I'm sorry?
Jamal Charlo. You had Austin Jamal Charlo fight, right?
Yes. So I've worked with Derek before and stuff like that. But what threw me off going into this fight was when I came in to give the pre-fight instructions, and I'm begging you, please come with me on the next fight that you're in, that I'm doing a fight. Come with me in the back room and while I'm doing the instructions. I think you'll get a kick out of it and you'll get a better understanding. Sure. When I went in, uncharacteristic of Derek, he jumped down my throat. He started yelling, Sean does this and Sean does that. And I went, oh shit, this is going to be something because, they're both worried about each other. And I didn't know if he was trying to get an edge on me to make me hypersensitive to anything that Sean did, or he was just really nervous about Errol and fighting that style of fighter. But when that stuff happens in the dressing room, it's their nervous. It's not about me. It's them. It's about them. So that happened. And then, and Sean's dad was, a little bit vocal in the dressing room as well. So I knew we had a.
Do you mind sharing what each of them said? And
just about tendencies with the other guy. It was just simple stuff, tendencies with the other guy. And I told Derek right in front of everybody, I said, look, man, I'm not going to change anybody's style of fighting. That's your guy's job to change it in the way he's prepared. I said, but I'm here to make sure that there's no fouling. That's all I'm here to do. Keep people safe, make them follow the rules and stuff like that. And I didn't say this to him, but I wanted to say, you took this fight like months ago. I hope you prepare for the style. It's not my job to intervene. My job is to stay the hell out of the way and let the two guys try to impose themselves on each other. And that's what I told them I was going to do. And they were both very happy. Well, he was very happy when it was done.
And round 1 through 12, take us through those.
Man, it was just a lively, top-notch fight. These guys came to win. Errol Spence shocked me because Sean brought his A game, and Sean, did his normal I got a righty lefty, so it was going to be ugly. And Sean is an ugly fighter in the sense that he's a brawler, man. He makes you fight.
Sure.
Even when he misses, you pay with his shoulders, his elbow. You know, it's a tough. He's a very, very, very tough, skilled guy. So he brought that. And Errol, I was pleasantly surprised, wanted to show Sean, I'll fight you your style, I'll fight you my style. I'm going to fight you either way, and I'm going to, stay there. He stood his ground, and he brawled with him, and it made it a great, great spirited fight for both guys. But they were very clean. They stopped when I said stop. They broke when I said broke, and say break. And for the most part, there was never any intentional fouls. It was a very clean fight for me. There was a lot of rough stuff and infighting, but you're going to have that on this kind of intensity of a fight, number one. But number two, when you got a righty and a lefty, it's awkward. They lead with their heads, their elbows, their feet get caught up. It's going to happen all the time. They're always going to end up in awkward positions. So it's going to be ugly. And you could see on Errol's face, he took some heads and stuff where he was, pretty banged up and stuff like that.
Now you're in the ring. I'm in the first 10 rows of the fight of the arena. Did you see an energy change when Earl came out dancing? Did you see that? Because the crowd reacted to it. I reacted to it because I obviously know what song is playing. And I actually had a bet on Errol Spence to win the fight. And I knew the rounds were close. I didn't know which way they were going just based off of my because I'm blinded by my bet. You understand? Did you see
emotionally involved?
Did you see Earl come out dancing at all? And did you see a energy shift?
I didn't see an energy shift, but I saw him come out dancing, and I said, "All right, he's loose. He's loose." And I said, "That's good because if they're tense, they don't fight well." And let me say this to educate the fans too: what it takes to be a championship referee is the understanding that you got two incredibly highly trained warriors getting in the ring. They're full of adrenaline, and then on top of it, if they don't like each other, they're full of emotion. And the first 4 rounds are going to be ugly sometimes, and you can't overreact, and you can't start jumping on guys for especially little stuff. You got to let it play out, and after about 4 rounds, usually the energy settles, and the fight that it's going to be settles into that fight once they've got all that adrenaline out real quick, in those first 4 rounds. That's what I try to do. I try to let them settle it without inserting myself and changing anything, taking away a guy's game or something like that.
What did you see in the knockdown? It seemed like Sean was out of it for about 2 to 5 seconds, and then he just snapped right back.
Look, that was a beautiful left hand, caught him right on the chin. I can tell you the physics of it and what happens to the brain when you hit with a hook or an uppercut rather than a straight punch. The brain actually goes in 2 different directions, and the little connecting tissues get pinched, so your lights go out. But it was a credit and a test to Sean that he never fully fell out and went on his face. He caught himself on the way down, and at the count of 3, he was back, and by 4, he was cursing Errol out and saying, "Come on, let's go." So it was great. It was definitely a hard, clean knockdown. You can't take it away. And his glove touched the ground. He started going down, and he awoke. The lights were going flickering, but he caught himself. Only his hand touched. He got right back up and got back into it.
How would you rate that fight in terms of level of competitiveness and intensity?
It was as competitive as you can get and as tense as you can get. What more do you want from a world championship, welterweight, middleweight, whatever it was, fight like that? The only thing different than that fight to a heavyweight fight is that one punch can make a big difference in the heavier weights. But in this thing, I mean, you had 2 guys. I don't remember how many punches they threw, but there were a lot of punches, and there weren't very many lulls in the action. 2 of the top guys in the world right now. So I enjoyed doing that fight, and it was a great fight. And, people probably want to see a rematch. But, after Errol's accident, we don't know what's going to happen yet, And now this COVID layoff. So who knows?
Now let's go to we'll get out of Staples Center in a second. Now let's go to December 1st. Was that it was? Tyson Fury and Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. Talk about the dressing room stuff, because I don't know these stories. Like the conversation with you and JD's Mark Breland, Deontay Wilder, and you with Tyson Fury and Ben Davison. Talk about that stuff.
So like I I know Jay, Mark, and Deontay because I did 5 of his fights before that, or 4 of them. I don't remember how many I've done.
Mm-hmm.
So they were very comfortable with me and stuff. And I went in the dressing room, and just reminded them what was going to be acceptable. Let me just start out by saying this. So a fight of that magnitude, even like with Errol and Sean, a fight of the magnitude that was a heavyweight championship of the world. I do my research way out. I'm watching. I never did a Tyson Fury fight. So I went and watched tapes of him to make sure I knew what his tendencies were. And I also did the same thing with Deontay in his last few fights. I did maybe 3 fights back. I just wanted to see, because his style did change. I don't know if you guys noticed. He went from that guy who was boxing the shit out of Bermain Stavern, using that jab like a knife, just cutting him up, breaking him down, and then dropping that right hand, to standing with his feet flat, his weight flat, just trying to land that right hand. Something in Deontay changed. So I'm glad I watched and stuff like that. But I did my research from a referee standpoint. And what I noticed is that both guys had some tendencies that I was going to try not to allow to have happen in the ring. So the first thing I took care of is I called the commission and I told them I got some concerns. And Andy, my boss, Andy Foster, said, put it on paper. So I typed them up a memo and I attached pictures. I said, look, both of these guys have a tendency. Some fights, they wear their trunks. The trunks are up to here, and it's going to cause a lot of controversy. And if there's belt line shots and you really can't tell where the belt is. So I took pictures of them from prior fights with the trunks really high. Then I showed pictures of them with their trunks in perfect form on different fights. And I said, these are the trunks or type of trunks that I want them to wear. The second thing is both of these guys sport a beard. And there's been controversy before about beards creating cushions and stuff like that. So I asked Andy to please remind both camps weeks out that the day of the fight, they don't have to shave, but we want their beards neat and trimmed. So the hint of controversy is not even there for the fight. And both guys were gentlemen. And I'll tell you what they said to me in the dressing room. Both guys trimmed their beard. One of them cut it off totally.
Probably Fury. Fury did.
Yeah, Fury cut it off totally, which we weren't asking him to, but he did because he felt there was a need. So then, day before the fight, I gave the rules meeting and I explained to everybody, what the rules, the 13 unified rules of the Association of Boxing and Commission are, but what they actually mean, how we're going to what they actually mean as far as how we're going to implement them. 4-round rule, what it means. If guys get knocked down, what they have to do, what the other guy has to do, and intentional fouling, accidental fouling. Please, Frederick, join me at the next rules meeting I do. You'll get it.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll be glad to, for sure.
Yeah, you've been there with me talking to me, and then I go off. You should have come with me, man.
I'll be trying to get everybody that comes through the door, because I only see them once a month, probably, So
I hear you. So then, after speaking to representatives of both camps, the weigh-in was done. I was there when they chose the gloves. I was standing, it was part of my duties to be there when they were choosing gloves and watch the inspectors mark them off. Both Deontay and Tyson chose their own gloves. They gave their gloves away, signed, put in a bag. Nobody sees them. The inspector who takes them runs to like a mailbox, a post office, and puts them on a letter scale and weighs them to make sure they're exactly the right ounce. They're exactly 10 ounce. And then he puts them in his room, wherever he's staying that night. Nobody touches him till an hour before the fight or 2 hours before the fight. He walks in the dressing room. He gives them to the inspector assigned to the 2 fighters, and those gloves are never out of anybody's sight. I want to put that up.
Yeah.
So all that controversy was nonsense, Frederick.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to disagree a little bit, but let's talk about the gloves. When you go into the dressing room, do they have their gloves on already, or are they getting taped, or do you have to watch?
They're either not taped or in the process of getting taped. What I like to do is I like to get in that dressing room about 2 hours or maybe even 2.5 hours before the fight. So they're just relaxing, getting loose. I want to get in, get done, and leave them alone to do whatever they need to do to get in their zone. I don't want to be interrupting them and have any questions before a half an hour before a fight. It's not the way to go. So I'm in there way early, but I always come back and check. You guys ready? We're up next. Always just see how everybody's doing. So I see them both. I see them with them or without them.
Now, when was the first time you checked both gloves as it relates to Fury and Wilder?
When they picked them. When they picked the gloves, I just took a look at both of them to see what they are, because I can't remember it right now, but I think they were provided by the promoter, or the company that made the gloves supplied them for them, obviously, because they want the advertising for them. So
Absolutely.
I always just look at them, take a look, just to see, to feel them, and look to make sure the way the thumb is connected and stuff like that, and to see the size of them.
And did you see anything that was different as it relates to?
Nothing. Totally normal. Totally normal.
Now, round one, ding, ding, ding. What happens?
Well, can I go back and explain a couple things that happened?
Sure.
So now it's the night of the fight, and like I said, I like to get in there and go in the dressing room early. And I went to the dressing room to give instructions, and I can't remember whose dressing room I started with, and I reintroduced myself with Tyson Fury and his camp and stuff like that, and they were extremely respectful. And while I was in the middle of my little, canned speech, I was trying to say what we're looking for in fairness. He stopped me and he goes, "Look, we don't want any controversy tonight. I want to win this thing legitimately, fair and square. I don't want any controversy. I don't plan on doing anything that you're, whatever." And I said, "Good. Well, let me just tell you a couple of things that are not acceptable. I told Tyson, you've had a tendency in some of your fights to hold the rope with the right hand and spring out with your big body, throw a jab, and have the ropes pull you back." I go, "There's no holding the ropes and hitting." Number two, you've had a tendency to, when you're throwing that jab, instead of throwing a jab straight, you've had a tendency to almost throw a backhand at occasions. There ain't going to be no backhands tonight. And I went over about 3 or 4 things with him, and he was totally okay with everything I said. He didn't argue with me. He goes, nope, won't do it tonight. He kept repeating, "I want a good, clean, fair fight tonight. I want to win this thing legitimately." So I said, "Great." And I got to be honest with you, both guys did the same thing, and they fought extremely clean. There wasn't any problem in that fight.
Do you want to go through like the Glovegate situation for that fight?
We can. When I'm done with this, we can go anything you want. Then I went to Wilder's dressing room, and we're very familiar with each other, and I told him the same thing. And when I asked Deontay not to do it, a couple of things I asked Deontay not to do is be very careful if he gets this guy in trouble, because in the past he's had that tendency to start throwing the bomb squad punches, and instead of hitting with the front part, I'm trying to find the camera here, the legal part of the glove, he hits with the open hand and almost the wrist. So I said, just make sure you're throwing legal punches. If you get him in trouble, don't throw him the big wide punches, shorten them up. I said, number two, I said, look, you've had a tendency in the past to leave your left hand out on the guy's face, touch his face, turn his head to the left, and drop that right hand. I go, that's spearing, it's holding and hitting. We're not doing that tonight. And Deontay repeated the same thing. No, don't worry. This is going to be a clean fight. I'm going to whip this guy's ass, fair and square. And both of these guys, gentlemen, just nothing but gentlemen. And they fought exactly the way I requested and the way that they could win that thing without any controversy, even though there was. But they weren't the problem. They were not the problem at all.
Okay, let's go through the let's go step, because I know Glovegate very well, right? So let's go through like when you're giving your instructions pre-fight, right? There are some suggestions that Fury pulled his hands back or something like that. Did you see that, or did you see anything like that?
No, it's kind of far-fetched. Fred, I don't know if you agree with me or not, but that stuff is really far-fetched. Let me say this up front.
Sure.
Both of these guys, they are huge men, 6'9" and 6'7". They are humongous. They're giants, man. And those stupid 10-ounce gloves, when they were trying them on without wraps, they had to squeeze their hands in, both of them. So what do you think is going to happen with guys with wraps, with sweat, over 12 rounds, hitting that little leather and padded thing? Those gloves get destroyed by heavyweights. And that's what happened. And between the sweat and the destruction to the leather and the foam, and all this stuff, that's what the people are looking at. They were not pristine when they were done, but they were damaged from being worn. That's why we don't use them again after, a fight like that.
Okay. Now,
oh, by the way, and that hole in the center of the ring that they were talking about? Totally normal. His hands with the wraps were so big, you couldn't get them to close.
Okay.
It was like that the whole time.
Okay. Now let's talk about the there was a point in the fight where something happened with Fury's glove. You and I spoke about that. Can you explain that to the fans?
Yeah. Okay. The knucklehead, for lack of better terms, fan or whoever he was that said that I helped Tyson Fury fix his glove and because he slid it out and I was cheating for him. You're a moron or you're an idiot. You don't know shit about boxing. What happened in that fight is very simple. Okay. You told me I could be real on this thing.
No, man. I love it. Jack. We in the
look, it's the only chance I get to be this way.
We're in the barbershop. Right. You welcome back anytime, man. I know you tired of going to Supercuts, man. But so come on over here to Soften and Crenshaw, man. Come on.
So it's so simple. This happens on every fight. It almost happens at the wrapping inside his glove came loose, and a piece of the gauze that they wrap around their wrist and make the wrap came loose, and it was sticking out of his glove. It was just kind of floating out in the wind. So before they started around, when I saw it, I ran over, grabbed it, and I shoved it back into the glove. That's it. And then in between rounds, I told them, cut it. That's it. Okay. There's no tape gate or anything like that.
Okay. And that's fair. You have shit. You were there. I wasn't, you know what I mean? Now let's go to round 12.
So wait, there's a guy going, Jack, it's on film. So look at it. You'll see what I did. Yeah. I stuffed this stuff back into the glove, man.
All we can ask you is give what you saw. You know,
Frederick, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
What? I don't know who's saying I'm cheating for somebody or whatever. But what do I get at it? Why would I cheat either way? Am I gonna? It doesn't make sense. Am I gonna cheat an American champion, or am I gonna in front of I don't know how many millions of people watching cheat this British guy with all this instant replay? I mean, I couldn't win. I couldn't gain for that. Nobody could pay me enough to do that anyway. It's ridiculous.
Round 12. You're going down in history for this round forever. You know what I mean? In terms of this generation of fans.
Can we back up and I say something? You know, this is what I've been criticized for too. I want to put this out there. Okay. Yeah. So I follow the spirit of the law, not the letter of the law. I follow common sense. Let me say this to everybody. The rules of boxing were written by mortal men. And unfortunately, some of them never took a punch in their face in their life. Some of them never laced up the gloves, have no idea what these fighters, these warriors go through training and have a courage to get into the ring and actually fight. And they're administrators for commissions. They don't know shit about fighting, some of them. And they put these rules in place, and the rules aren't common sense. So a perfect example is, here's what I won't follow the letter of the law. In the 9th round, when Deontay caught Tyson with that right hand, he hit him behind the ear. He hit him here. By the letter of the law, some guy who's a rules freak in the letter of the law would have said no knockdown. Deontay, you hit him behind the head. Not me, because Tyson Fury caused it by ducking and turning the way he turned. Deontay threw a legal punch, a straight punch. He didn't throw a wide looping punch targeting the back of the head. He threw what would be a normal legal punch, and Tyson turned his head, exposed his head, and caused it himself. It's a knockdown. That's the spirit of the law. That's what people don't understand, or they're criticizing the spirit of the law. What's he talking about? I'm talking about common sense. And that's what I did.
Okay.
Or if fighter A, how about this? Fighter A is pulling fighter B's head down, and fighter B is trying to punch to the body. Where's that punch going to go? To the groin, right? Do you call the foul on the guy who hit the guy? No, the other guy caused it by pulling the head down. It's not a foul. It's a foul, but it's caused by the guy who took the punch. So it's common sense. It's not, and you know what? This sport it's not pretty, man. Yeah. It's like being a lineman in the NFL. How much shit goes on between the linemen when they're trying to protect the quarterback and the defensive backs are trying to get in? It's ugly. It's contact sports, man.
Gotcha. Now, before we get to the 12th round, going into the 12th round, was this a hard fight to referee, or was it pretty not simple, but well within your grasp?
Well within my grasp. And I'm going to tell you why. They behaved like two true champions and warriors. Look, they could have made it ugly, and it would have been difficult for me to have to keep breaking them, and it would have been a boring fight for everybody. It would have been like a dancing contest instead of a boxing match. But those two guys came to win and fight, and they did. It was great.
I'll say this, man. If we had you as a police officer, the world may be a better place if you're using spirit of the law.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
That's what I'm all about, man.
It's breaking my heart. You know what I mean?
I hear you. And I feel you.
Round 12. Ding, ding, ding. My channel is a predominantly pro Deontay Wilder fan. I had $1,000 on Deontay Wilder that night.
I know you told me I cost you $1,000. Remember?
yeah. So tell us, round 12, Deontay Wilder knocks him down. Play by play, frame by frame. Tell the fans exactly.
All right. So it was a very close fight. They were hitting each other, but there wasn't any heavy damage throughout the fight where head snapping punches where a guy lost his consciousness for a second. He dropped his hands. There was no visible physical damage of cuts or bruises that I had to worry about or what was going on internally. It was just a rugged, good, normal boxing match. So in lieu of the fact that there wasn't any heavy damage, when Deontay caught him with two beautiful shots, a right and then a left hook. No, I'm sorry, left and then the right. Beautiful shots. And dropped him like a brick. Tyson Fury went down like a brick. And I was about 6 feet away from them when that happened. And when Tyson fell, he fell away from me. So then I was 6 feet from his feet. So he was about 12 to 18 feet from me, because he's 6 feet and the other feet, you know what I'm saying? So it was about 12 feet. His face was about 12 feet away from me. So I immediately signaled down because it was a clean knockdown, pointed to the neutral corner for Deontay, who was on his way going there without me having to say a word. He was already going there.
Yes, his fiance did the shimmy, you know what I mean?
But I didn't even see that because all I did was point, flip my head to the timekeeper who went like this, one. And in my head, I said one. And as I turned back and I started walking towards Fury, I didn't know if he was out or not. Because of the shot, the way it was, I thought he was probably unconscious. But when I turned from the timekeeper, what I instinctually noticed is that Tyson Fury was resting his right leg up on the bottom of the ball of his foot. So his right leg was up.
Sure.
And if he was unconscious, that leg would have been flopped down. There would have been no hand movement. And I noticed the leg was up and a little hand movement in his gloves. So I said, oh, shit, he might not be out. So as I was walking to get to him to see what I had, 2, 3 in my head without audibly counting it, because if his eyes are closed and he's seizing or twitching, I'm just waving the fight off. But as I got to 3, I got in with eye shot of him, and he started tracking me with his eyes. In other words, he was laying like this, and as he saw me coming, he went like this. So I saw his eyes move, and I go, oh, shit, he's up. So I got down, and I audibly started to count at 4, but I had picked it up at 1 and 2, 3 in my head. You know what I'm saying? Started at 4, and he was squinting, for lack of better terms. His eyes were open, but he was kind of squinting. I don't know if he was, grunting from the pain or whatever he was doing, taking a rest. I don't know. But when I said 5, his eyes popped wide open.
Okay. And
he looked at me and then, made a grunt or something with his face, rolled over and got up. And let me explain to the fans this. Your fan, Lonnie's asking me, why didn't I wave the fight off? It's the 12th round of a heavyweight championship fight without a tremendous amount of damage prior. I want to see what I got before I do something wrong and too quick. Number 2, I was always taught to count a champion out. There's nothing wrong with taking your time and getting over there. And before you wave it off, make sure he's out. So anyway, let me explain to everybody what a knockdown is.
Sure.
A knockdown is any time due to a legal punch or punches any part of a fighter's body other than the soles of his feet touch the canvas. Okay? You could also count a knockdown where, due to a legal punch or punches, a fighter is helplessly over the ropes, or there but for the ropes, he would have gone down. So those are the explanations. Going back to the first one, due to a legal punch, anything but the soles of his feet touches the ground. So conversely, he's no longer down once no part of his body other than the soles of his feet are touching the ground when he's rising. So when I was saying the word 9, his right hand came off the mat. And whether it's an 1/8 of an inch off the mat or he's standing straight up, once it's off that mat, no parts touching the body, he's up. And my job changes from counting to assessing, and that's what I did. So then, because it was such a devastating knockdown and he fell like a brick, I wanted, and Deontay's history of coming in with those bomb squads and knocking people out the way he's knocked people out, I had to be assured that Tyson Fury was able to intelligently defend himself. So I gave him I asked him a couple of questions, which he answered me perfectly. And let me say this. I told them both in the dressing room, you get knocked down, I'm going to give you every chance in the world to continue. I said it to both of them. I said, but you have to follow my commands. If you don't respond to what I'm asking you, I'm stopping the fight. So I said, when I ask you a question, I want you to shake your head up and down and say yes, or at least I got to be able to hear you. And I said to Tyson, you okay? And he went, yeah. And then he put his hands on my shoulders, and people was now another, the Watergate guys, the Glovegate guys. Oh, you were helping, and he was resting on your shoulders. No, he grabbed my shoulders to implore me, please don't stop this fight. I'm ready to go. I'm good. And I don't know if you guys saw, I immediately went like that, and I knocked his hands off. And I said, you want to continue? He said, yes. I said, take 3 steps that way and come right back to me. And he had a bounce in his step. He took 3 quick steps and came back to me.
He was doing a great job acting. He was selling it. That night.
He sold it. He did a great job. But I'll tell you what, too, he backed it up. Because let me say this to your fans, too. When a guy gets hurt, what a referee wants to see, the choices a fighter has, if he's laying against the ropes and he's getting his ass kicked or he gets dropped. When he gets up, a referee, we want to see them run, hold, take a knee, bob and weave, fight back, spit out your mouthpiece to get some extra time while you're on the ground, or even foul your opponent. Fouling your opponent is a thoughtful act. You're going to get your point taken away, but you're going to get your rest, And same thing with spitting out the mouthpiece. But the last choice that we don't want, I don't want to see a guy just plant and stay in the same spot and just start throwing. He's on instinct. The number one thing I want to see is a guy run. If he's got his wherewithal and his legs and he could run, he's going to survive. Hopefully he's going to survive. And the second thing we wanted to see is have him hold, because then we know they're trying to get their composure, and that's the most logical thing to do. In this case, Tyson moved. He moved through a jab, tried to stay out of the way. When Deontay came to swarm him, he wrapped him up. You could see me, I'm saying, stop, let him go. And he ain't letting him go. I had to grab his right glove, peel his right glove off and weasel my way between and spread him, because Tyson was doing the smart thing. He was trying to buy time to survive. And after about 20 to 25 seconds of Deontay letting it all go, it took a little gas out of Deontay, and Tyson came back and actually caught him with a couple of good shots, and the momentum changed at that point. And let me say this, going back to the Peralta-Ramos fight. So Peralta got dropped really hard with a beautiful uppercut that spun his head, and he melted straight down. He didn't fall backwards. He melted straight down. And when and let me say this, a thinking fighter that gets hit with a hard punch usually takes the count on his knee. He sits there looking up at you, gaining his composure, and 8.5, he pops up. A guy that's on instinct just jumps up, and he's so dizzy, the equilibrium change, they get dizzy. That's exactly what happened to Peralta. Yeah, he jumped up, and what did he do? He stumbled back to the ropes and grabbed the ropes. And when I said, I gave him the sobriety test, the first one, he barely passed that test, but he had gone 10. Last round, I gave him the benefit of the doubt, and I said, I let him go, even though he didn't do well on that sobriety test. And what did he do? He stood in one spot, laid on the ropes, and threw meaningless arm punches and got knocked down again, popped up fast again. And this time when he popped up, Frederick, if he would have just stopped, I would have let that fight continue. Wow. I said, walk 3 steps and come back to me. He took 3 steps, stumbled, took 2 more, and went all the way to his corner.
You had to
All
stop.
he would have had to do is stop. I would have said, okay, box. You know what I'm saying? But he couldn't do it.
Now,
so this is what we're looking for.
Okay, go ahead. Now let me ask you: is a 10 count exactly 10?
Wait. He cheated in a hammer fight, caught doping and Borgate, and hit Wilder with his knuckles. He's talking about Fury's a cheater.
Yeah. Now, if you what's a 10 count? So fans can know, so I can understand too.
A 10 count?
Yeah. What is it actually? 1, 2, 3, or is it obviously it's human error in it, so it's going to be either shorter or longer than 10 seconds. But
it's supposed to mirror. It's supposed to mirror 10 seconds. It comes back in the day when they, Jack Dempsey, Jack Johnson days, where they had to find some kind of measure of time to say he has to get up by this point where the fight's over. And it was 10. They used to count to 10. And it's never been by a clock. It's always been by the referee's cadence. And I'm not perfect. I make a lot of mistakes. That particular night, my cadence was right on the money. No part of his body other than the soles of his feet was touching as I was saying 9.
Do you think the count was long, short, or right?
I'm telling you, it was right on the money, man. I was lucky. It wasn't that that I'm perfect. It was just I happened to be right on the money that night.
I had $1,000 on the fight, so I'm yelling at you to stop the fight. One, and then I'm yelling, "Hey, it's too long. It's over." I'm being honest, it's over. Like you guys said, Wilder is the winner, so I end up losing $1,000 that night.
Frederick, can I say something? I love you, right? You know that, right?
Yeah, you can talk to me.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good from the cheap seats telling me that I should let this guy go before I'm sure he can defend himself. Until you guys really have the authority and the responsibility to that guy, is himself, his family, and boxing, you just don't understand. And this is not barbaric. This is not what it was like 40, 50 years ago, where they barely got up and you dragged them, you wipe their gloves and you let them go. We had 5 deaths last year. Sure. 5 deaths in the ring. I don't ever want that on my resume. And the boxing fans got to know something. That referee sobriety test is in the rule book. It's here to stay. This is how boxing is progressing in a good way. And let me say this to you guys too. Everything has changed.
I love it. You capping back.
Football.
Love it.
Football. There's no more head-to-head contact. So the old school football go, they're pussies these days. Bullshit. These guys are much higher trained athletes and they run faster and hit harder. I'm glad they don't make head-to-head contact anymore. Right. In ice hockey and professional hockey, if a guy's against the boards with his back to the ice, you can't come behind him and hit him from behind and slam into the boards anymore. And this is the kind of safety measure we're taking in boxing to make sure that we're not sending a lamb to a lion after he's been seriously hurt. And that's all it is. It's not going to hurt the sport. And those guys who, look, you don't believe me, you hate on me, that's your business.
And what was the conversation like after the fight? Obviously, it's a draw. We've moved on. Have you had any conversations with Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury since?
I have not had any conversations with Deontay, although I would love to because I love the guy and I have nothing but the utmost admiration and respect for him. But I saw Tyson Fury for about 2 minutes at a fight one time he attended here in Los Angeles, and we just shook hands, said hello, and walked away with nothing. But I have not had a chance to meet up with Deontay. He's had a chance. We were in the same arena a couple of times, but I'm going to give him his distance. He felt that there was some shenanigans going on. I really don't feel he believes that, but I'm going to stay away and we'll let history take care of it. I'm going to respect him.
Did you watch the second fight?
Yeah.
Talk about.
Of course, come on. Are you kidding?
Did you actually go to the fight, or did you pay for it?
Nope, I paid for it, and I stayed with a very close friend and his wife and my wife. I didn't want to be around a lot of people. I've been to these sometimes people have fight parties, and you can't enjoy the fight because people.
Do you referee the fight while you watch it, or do you watch it?
That night I watched it as a fan, and then I went home and I refereed it. Then I went home and I refed it.
Okay, great.
Because, man, that was unbelievable.
I know it's like you can't publicly grade him publicly because that's your referee comrade, but talk about the fight from a referee's perspective. We obviously know what happened in the fight, but talk about it from a referee's perspective.
Ask the question again, please, because I was reading. I got a lot of hate mail on your goddamn comments, man.
Man, yeah, it's a pro Deontay Wilder channel. You know what I mean? Deontay Wilder comes on the channel maybe once every 3 months, does a 3-hour interview, relates to the fans, you know what I mean? And
you know what?
Yeah.
History will take care of it. And let me tell you something too. You know what this reminds me of with Deontay? First of all, your fans don't know this. And if they were smart, they would know I'd done 5 or 6 of his fights, and they were very happy with me in all the fights before this. That's number one.
Sure.
Number two, Deontay's gut reaction, his immediate reaction in the dressing room in the in the press conference was, I love Jack Reiss. He's a great ref. I've had him in many fights, and I'll have him again. That was his initial reaction. And I'm going to tell you my personal feeling. I think he intimated this a little bit. We had the very similar situation 20, 30 years ago. We had a guy that was the top-rated heavyweight in the world, that was invincible, that had a punch that was scaring the shit out of people, and his skills never deteriorated. It was the people surrounding him that were messing him up. His name was Mike Tyson, Don King, and Robin Givens. And I don't know, but I think my personal feeling, I have nothing to judge it by, but I do know that Deontay said he's going to be cleaning some house and get rid of some people that are around him. I think it's the people around him that there's some people around that are no good for him. That's what I personally think. But I don't know. So it's just my opinion. Good stoppage, bad stoppage. You're going to go back to that, huh?
No, I'm talking about Wilder Fury too. Good stoppage.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. Oh. I'm kidding around. Listen, it was a great stoppage. I'm really glad that Mark Breland threw in the towel. I don't understand the controversy. Deontay was not himself at that moment. He got hit. His ear was bleeding either from the earring that was there prior or something, or he had a broken eardrum. I didn't know at the time, but I could tell you he didn't have his equilibrium. He wasn't on good legs for many of the rounds. Before
round one, can you see a difference, Deontay Wilder, from when you reffed him and when you watched him in the second fight?
Well, I told you his style had changed totally. He went from a guy that had an incredible, like a knife, like a sledgehammer jab, and breaking people down and knocking them out, to a guy that was just planting and trying to use the right hand. Look, if you look at the fights that I personally reffed of his with Johan Duhaupas, that was a guy that was as big as Fury, almost as big as Fury.
You stopped that in the 11th round, didn't you? You stopped that fight in the 11th.
Yeah, and why I stopped it was because Deontay just softened him up by constant barrage of jabs, dropping the right hand, and then left hooks, up and down, up and down. And he had taken so much damage, Duhaupas, although Deontay didn't knock him out cold on his back. There was visible physical damage on his face. He couldn't win on the scorecards, and there was no reason to let this guy take any more damage. And it was the same thing with Eric Molina. Deontay softened him up and broke him down. So getting back to your point, that wasn't the Deontay I was watching in this fight. And he was, so I don't know if there was a mental shift, something changed in his head, or he just wanted to knock everybody out for the legacy. But his equilibrium looked bad. And again,
from round one, you think? From round one?
I don't know. I don't remember. I'd have to go back and look at it. Okay, but especially after that first knockdown, when he fell once or twice after that, I go, it's telling you something. Something's going on with the guy, and you got to pay attention to it. And I know he wants to go out on his sword, and man, he's a true champion, a true warrior. I got nothing but admiration and respect for the guy. But that's why we're there. We're there to protect them from themselves and let him live to fight another day. God damn, he's got a family, the guy. And you got to do what you got to do. And I respect Mark Breland so much. And let me give you another example of the spirit of the law, and your buddies can understand. So there was controversy that who was the head trainer, JD's or Mark Breland? Because there's a rule. And here's one of these things, Frederick. There's a rule that says only the chief second can throw in the towel.
Yeah, we talked about that on the phone.
Yeah. So here I am, a pro ref, and I got Mark Breland in the corner with Deontay Wilder. I'm just putting myself in Kenny Bayless's shoes. And I got JD's, that's technically, I'm making this up, technically the head trainer. But Mark Breland, who's an Olympic gold medalist, a guy who was a damn good professional, and now he's a world-renowned trainer, telling me my guy's had enough, stop the fight. I'm going to listen to that guy. I'm not going to let a technicality, because he's not the chief trainer, stop me. I would have to be crazy to do it. I would leave myself. First of all, it would be criminal. I wouldn't want to let the fighter get hurt. If his own trainer, who works with him 6 days a week for 6 weeks to 3 months, knows him better than anybody else, is telling you, stop this fight, my guy's done. You have to be crazy. But number two, if I got a guy with that kind of reputation telling me to stop the fight and I ignore him because, oh, you're not the head trainer, and that guy gets seriously hurt, look at the position I'm leaving my commission, the sanctioning bodies, and myself in legally. It's no win. That's the spirit of the law. I'm going to listen to that guy, and I'm going to err on the side of safety.
George Floyd would be alive tonight if you know what I mean. If those 4 officers had spirit of the law. Now,
you think?
Yeah, man. Like, man,
we've discussed that.
Now we're going to open up the phone lines in a second, but good stoppage. Oh, someone asked the question. Oh, by the way, he can see the super chat, so I just put him on it, and he chooses whether he wants to answer them or not. He can read and see all the super chats.
The Mike Tyson Wilder fight?
Yeah.
In the prime? Yeah. I don't know, but I sure would like to ref it. And if they fight now, seriously, because they're trying to make these kind of attractions, and attractions are here to stay in boxing. They've always been around, even in Ali's day when he fought the wrestlers and Foreman fought 5 guys in one night or 4. I can't remember what it was. There's always been these attraction fights. So this thing might get traction, but for health and safety, I hope if he decides to fight Holyfield or Wilder or Fury, whoever Tyson's going to fight, I hope it's only a 5-rounder because Father Time is undefeated. The guy's 53 years old or whatever he is. You can't put him in a 12-rounder.
Gotcha. Are we going to open up? You might open up the phone lines for a little bit?
Not at all. Dude, if I go like this, bounce the guy, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I got you. Listen.
I got a question for you guys, though.
Yeah, for me?
For you, but also these guys.
Yeah.
Do these pro-Deontay Wilder guys think that I'm anti-Deontay Wilder or something?
I don't know what they're going to ask you, but I mean, hey, listen. You a cool motherfucker, man, for coming in here letting your tail swag a little bit. You know what I mean?
It's the only chance I get to actually be me.
Hey, I'm going to tell you one thing. When I open up my side window, I always make sure I got something in my drawer. I'm just being honest with you.
my wife's carrying. She got my back.
All right. I'm just making sure now because I don't take no chances, man. Because they can hear your voice or something. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
But we go up the phone line. Now you guys get one. The phone line is we're gonna try and get them in and out. Okay. Ask your question. You only get one question. All right, because I already know. I can tell by the chat. People got.
And you know what's funny too?
Yeah,
the 5 fights or 4, I can't remember, I did before this, did any one of these guys have a problem with me? No. So it's funny. All of a sudden, you're a GOAT, and one, it's like whatever. It's just funny.
Yeah, the phone lines are open. Don't forget, only can answer one call at a time. So when, boom, there you go. Let's go. 918, what's up? 918.
Fred.
Yes.
Now, are you convinced now that Jack explained to you that Deontay Wilder lost, that Tyson beat him fairly?
I'm always gonna ride with Wilder, man. I'm always gonna ride with Wilder. That's my guy.
I know that's your guy. But that doesn't change. But now, do you think that he lost? Doesn't mean you don't have to ride with him.
No, I think
he lose.
No, Wilder didn't lose. It was a draw.
Even
you're talking about the second fight. The second fight. No, we've talked about that already.
Even after Jack told you that, hey, it was a good call.
It was a good stoppage. I'm not disagreeing with this. I told Wilder the Tuesday after the fight, it was a good stoppage, and I also told him you wasn't right. You wasn't right from the top of the fight, from the first ding, ding, ding. I was like, something looked awkward about you.
And can I ask you a question, Fred?
Yeah,
was it Deontay's physical skills that there was something wrong with, or is it something in his life that's going on that he needs to eradicate?
I don't know what it is, but I'll say this. I'm going to quote me right now. All right. So no one's quoting Deontay Wilder. I called him Tuesday after the fight because I was concerned. I just wanted to care about his well-being, make sure he was solid, right? Great, solid. You understand? And I said, you didn't look right. I said, were you drugged in that fight? And I know you may think it's a little bit auspicious, a little bit weird. And I says, from the round one, you were stumbling. And I've never seen D take be so defensive. And then Jack, the whole 12 rounds of your fight, Deontay Wilder never put his hand on the ropes, excuse me. He got knocked down. He got hit one time. His hands was on the ropes, and his reaction time was so slow. I'm like, that don't look like Deontay Wilder to me, you know? And you know what I mean? So that's kind of the way I feel, man. I appreciate you calling in though.
All right, thank you, brother. Much love. Continue.
All the time. Yeah, man.
So are you, but Frederick, are you so blinded by your emotion and your friendship with him?
I'm blinded.
Okay. But you know,
no, I'm not blinded like you say. No, but go ahead.
But listen, you know,
go ahead.
I haven't been perfect in everything I've done, and I've made mistakes, and I've lost fights in my life, and I had to come to the realization, okay, pick yourself up off the ground and move forward, and that's what makes a man. And listen, there's a story he's going to be able to tell that's just ripe for the taking. He's a man, that guy. Deontay Wilder's a man's man. He is going to pick himself up after this, and he's going to come back strong. And the story of how, like Rocky, the Rocky stories, how after a loss, you show the world what you're really all about. The human spirit. That's the story. I think that's going to be in his legacy.
Now, I do agree it was a good stoppage. Like, it's no way in hell would I. And I've told this to D. He says, Fred, I'm going to quote the one time I will quote D. He says, Fred, I know you love me, but I want to go out on my shoot. I said, nah, nigga, you got kids. Nah, excuse me. I said, you got kids, man. You got a family. I thought it was a good stoppage. You understand what I'm saying? You didn't look right from round one. You know what I mean? So that's where I felt. 636, what's up?
Hey, what's up, Fred? What's up, Mr. Jack Reiss?
Hello, how are you?
I'm okay. Welcome to the barbershop.
Thank you.
Make sure you come back.
Please come back. I like your feistiness, Jack.
If you'll have me, I'll come back.
Oh, I love your feistiness, dog. You an honorary member, dog.
I'm honored.
Yeah, for sure. Go ahead, Asia.
Okay. Well, I just was trying to let him know he's in the barbershop. So this is your first time here, and we appreciate you. But we're going to take you through the ringer. That's how we're going to know if you're family or not. You know, you've been cooking with Crisco and you've been holding your own, so don't take nothing offensive. And if you do take something offensive, that means, hey, you really not cut to be in this barbershop right here. But we will respect you, and we will respect each other if we disagree. We don't care what race you is, what religion you are. Our bottom line is we treat everybody fair, and we don't give nobody a pass if something is questionable. We're going to say, hey, what's up with this? You know, and then you give your fair, response to the best, that your best explanation possible. But the question I had for you is there a preferred division that you like, weight division that you prefer refereeing in a match?
No, not really. You know, I just at this point I like to do the high spirited fights, like Frederick was talking about the Sean Porter, Errol Spence, or the Wilder Fury fights. The guys who really come to fight. I hate doing the fights where it's a holding 1-2 and hold, 1-2 and hold, and I'm constantly breaking and constantly gotta intervene. I like to see guys who come to win. So it doesn't matter what division, but like even Abner Mars, Leo Santa Cruz, man, they're little feisty guys, but they threw 2,200 punches in one fight, man. So I love that kind of stuff. So really, the divisions don't matter, though.
Appreciate it, Asia.
Okay. So one last thing. Moving forward.
No, Asia. I'm sorry. I gotta get to that. Man, this phone lines are hot. The phone lines are hot, Asia. One question, y'all. One question. I appreciate you hitting me, Asia. Now, how did you 513? Hold up one second. I thought you did a hell of a job with Errol Spence, Sean Porter, because I thought it was just two men fighting. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that makes any sense to you, but to me, it makes
totally.
Like maybe Sean led with the head a little bit. Sean threw his forearms up. Sean olayed them and pushed them, turned them. He turned them physically. You know what I mean? Earl might have Earl might have went a little bit low one time, maybe 2 times, you know what I mean? But I just thought it was 2 men fighting, you know what I mean? And I thought many of the rounds, Earl won by a half a step or a split second. You know, I thought those fights, it was a very entertaining fight to me. And I thought you did a hell of a job that night.
Well, thank you. And I got to agree, that's what we love to see. You don't know who the referee is. I'm staying in the background, and I am trying to tell everybody this. It's a fight. It's not a tennis game. There's low blows. Blows will go astray. Heads will come together. Elbows, shoulders, especially in a fight like that with a righty and a lefty and the 2 styles that they had. And all I could have done was mess it up by over officiating. And I stayed the hell out of the way and let those 2 guys settle it between themselves. That's what you want, in my opinion. That's what you want to do. Let the 2 fighters settle it as much as possible.
513, go ahead.
Hey, Jack, my question for you is: Did you see Tyson Fury's glove? I mean, have you seen the footage of Tyson Fury's left glove slip up into the bottom of the glove? And if you did see it, what do you think about that?
I did see his glove. I don't agree with the assessment that it slipped up. I was speaking to Frederick earlier and trying to explain their gloves. They're both such huge men, big men, 6'9", 6'7", that their hands barely fit in the gloves without being wrapped when they were trying them on. So you put the wraps on, and then they're pounding each other the way they were. Those gloves get messed up. I saw Deontay in the fight going like this too, a bunch, fixing his own gloves a lot of times because it's a piece of leather and foam, and they're hitting with some fierce power, and they're going to mess up that leather and foam. It's no different than a football player fixing his shoulder pads or fixing his helmet or his knee pad, hockey player fixing his knee pads. It's taking contact. It's not going to be pristine when, throughout the fight.
Appreciate you, Big Dose.
Hey, some guy's asking me how come I'm not answering his question. What's his question? I don't know what his question is.
It was a super chat. It was a super chat question, but you didn't answer it because
I didn't see it.
Always let it stay up for like 20 or 30 seconds.
It said it's dog 215. Be a man. Answer my question. So why do they got to get personal? Be a man. What? I'm not a man coming on here and taking. Hey, let me tell you, dog 215. We don't know each other. Do I go to your job and tell you, man, you're doing a shit job? Be a man. That's not right. You know what I'm saying? What does me being a man not have to do it? I didn't see anything,
I love it. Hey, so always let the super chat stay up. If you acknowledge it, you acknowledge it. I'm not going to.
I might have been talking and didn't really see it, but I'd love to answer his question. What was it?
It happens. 718, what's up?
Oh, New York, Brooklyn, huh?
Then peace, Jack, man.
Is that Brooklyn 718?
In the barbershop. Hey. I'm June from Brooklyn, man. It's 1 a.m. over here.
Really 718, my old home, man.
With you guys.
Yeah, ask your question.
Hello?
Yeah, ask your question.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to ask Jack who's his favorite fighter to watch right now.
I don't want to answer that because then I'll never end up doing his fights. They won't let me. So there's a lot of fighters I love doing their fights, and I don't really have one specific favorite, but I do enjoy doing certain fighters' fights and watching them, even if I'm not doing them. But I can't take myself out of the game by showing any kind of favoritism to anybody. So I'm sorry, I don't want to answer it. Hey, I'm from Brooklyn too, brother.
Appreciate the call, man. Appreciate the call.
Perfect.
All right. Yeah, man, you got him, Jack. That shows that, I mean, you have a pulse in the boxing community, man. These phone lines are hot. These phones ain't been hot since Jason Whitlock came on. You know what I mean?
So dog 215, what do you do for a living, dog 215? Because I was on the front line too. I save lives for a living too. So what are you telling me I ain't a man? I mean, that shouldn't even be in this conversation if you're a keyboard warrior. We're 3,000 miles apart on the keyboard. This shit should come up. Come on, man, be real.
Get him, Jack.
I wouldn't speak to anybody like that. I just wouldn't do that to somebody, man.
347. What's up, homie? What's up? DOG's in Philly, though. I think DOG's in Philly. Yeah, I think so. If I'm not mistaken. Are you in Philly, DOG? Go ahead. Ask your question.
Come on and say hello.
What's up, 347?
I wanted to say to Jack.
Yeah, he's here.
Stop the exhibition. Why'd you with Logan Paul case? Why did you take away the 2 points?
Fred.
Yes.
You should give him a warning.
Hey.
You can't hear me. Hi.
Hey, Miss Reese, how you feeling?
It's Josephine.
Hey, how you
Hello.
doing? How you doing?
You know, all these guys on, lots of people on the call, and they were asking questions and stuff like that. A lot of them are ripping my ass. Honey, would you fill that up for me? Thank you. I didn't hear the question. She speaks very softly.
Why did you take away the 2 points in the Logan Paul, right? Am I right?
Yeah, why didn't you give him a warning?
Why didn't you give him a warning?
Okay, that's a great question, and I really appreciate it. And let me start out by saying that, you know, these attraction fights, and that's what that is, an attraction fight. Those guys aren't professional. And I say this with all due respect, because those guys had a lot of courage getting in the ring to fight each other in front of millions and millions of people and be embarrassed because somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose. So I have a respect for them. But it was one of the sloppiest fights I've ever had a ref. They were constantly fouling each other, and I warned them both in the dressing room that, look, I'm going to try to let you guys fight as best as possible, but there are certain things you can't do in the ring. When we have a fight, there's infractions, misdemeanors, and felonies. And the infractions and the misdemeanors is what Frederick was talking about with the Spence Porter fight. A low blow here and there, a little head go astray, shoulders bumping. But when you take a guy and you hold him behind the head and you hold his head where it can't release from the punch, and you hit him with an uppercut and that drops him, and then you hit him twice more on the ground, that's definitely a felony. And let me explain this to you too. So I initially waved off the knockdown. So if I didn't count the knockdown, I was kind of mandated to at least take 1 point because of the 3 fouls that he committed, egregious fouls, the intent and actually the effect of them, especially the first punch. But I was trying to make a statement. If I took 1 point, it would have been 9-9. But I was trying to make a statement because my athletic commissioner directed me in a prior fight when I didn't take points. You take points for fouls like that, that's what we want from you. So anyway, I was trying to make a statement. So I scored the knockdown. I allowed Logan to actually have the knockdown count, and then I took 2 points. So instead of it being 9-9, it was 8-8. It was the same effect as if I waved off the knockdown and took 1 point, which would have been totally justified, and people don't understand.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Three.
Jack,
Appreciate no. Appreciate the call. That's it. I got to be fair. I got to be fair to everybody else, man. I appreciate you calling in.
I was just going to ask him what part of Brooklyn.
I can't.
Coney Island.
Okay. Oh, what part of New York you from? Coney Island. Yeah, man. I got to be fair to everybody, man. So come loaded.
Abraham Lincoln High School.
Yeah. 347. What's up? 347. What's up?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, what's up?
All right, this is Jack Reiss, man. I appreciate you as a ref. How you feeling?
I'm good. Thank you for saying that too. I appreciate it.
Hey, good. All right. I don't know if it's contradiction or not, but you was speaking about brutality and about how it's not like it was in the old days. But yet, you know, you let Fury lay there completely knocked out. I don't know. You can say if he was completely knocked out or not, but from a lot of the still shots, he looked like he was out of it for a couple of seconds. So, you know, that's one thing I don't understand. As for...
Can I respond to that?
My question is about rabbit punches.
Okay.
You said Wilder lost.
Put it all together, Jack. Put it all together, Jack.
I'm sorry.
No, I was saying hurry up. So he gonna put all the answer all together. Go ahead, continue.
Okay, yeah. So Wilder got hit. Wilder got hit with 30 rabbit punches. You mentioned the first knockdown, and he was pretty much hitting the back of the head. He was hit with the front of the palm and hitting the back of the head and went down. Was that legit, or is that okay between some fighters? Do you have like make some kind of agreement where, you know, rabbit punching is okay in this fight and not in other fights? And why was it allowed for 30 stripes to the back of his head?
Appreciate it. I'm going to answer while you're off the line. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Well.
All right. Thank you for the call. And first of all, I tried to explain this before. When Deontay knocked down Fury, I thought he was probably unconscious. So I picked up the count and turned, and I saw his leg in the air, which told me he wasn't unconscious. So I don't know what still pictures you're looking at, but I've seen a lot of them, and his eyes are open. in all of the pictures I've seen, from the first second he went down until I got there, his eyes were open, and you could see pictures of it with Deontay right after the knockdown, and he's on his back with his eyes open. So he wasn't unconscious. And my point is, I went in before waving it off. I did what was prudent and went to make sure if he was out or not. And if you watch when Kenny Bayless refereed Ricky Hatton against Manny Pacquiao, Pacquiao hit Hatton with a devastating shot that there was no question about. Hatton was out just by the way he fell. And on the ground, he looked like he was seasoned on the ground. But Kenny didn't wave it off right away. He took 3 steps, got in over him to make sure what he was doing was correct, and then waved it off. Because that's what we're taught to do in world championship fights. This is not like a 4 or 6 round undercard fight. This is the Super Bowl. This is the Stanley Cup, the World Series for these guys. They worked very hard to get there. And you want to make sure you take them into a little bit deeper water. Don't let them drown, but you want to take them out as far as you can without letting them get hurt. So that's why I just didn't wave it right off. And he was not unconscious. And as far as your second question, I disagree. I don't. You must be talking about the second fight, because there was not 30 rabbit punches in the first fight. And I'm going to tell you why you're wrong about it if you're thinking it was the first fight. Deontay is very vocal, and I've had the other 4 fights I did with him, when he felt something was going on, when I go in the corner, he said to me, something the other guy was doing. He never mentioned anything, nor did JD's or Mark Brilliant about rabbit punches, and I don't remember seeing any rabbit punches. So I'm very sorry, but you might be confusing the first fight with the second fight.
215, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, man? Thanks for taking the phone call. All right, so before I get to my question, I just want to make a couple of things clear. I'm not really with the knockdown. I think it was a judgment call. If he was knocked out, he would never got up, period.
There you go.
The count, I mean, who cares? I mean, it's a judgment call. I don't really fault Jack for the count at all on that. But my question was going to be, when he's throwing his hook, I don't know if you've seen the film, slow down, speed up. His glove,
which fight?
90 degrees. And I understand you say
which
these are big guys
about?
in the gloves, but this is started off from round 1. And these gloves are brand new, as you say, never been touched, never been in a fight. A glove, have you ever seen a glove rotate 90 degrees when you're throwing a hook? And he did throw a flip jab in his face to blind him to throw the hook. But that's like a judgment call, like I said. But I don't fault Jack. I respect the man, and I respect his calls. I don't think you were cheating. You called me, said I don't know shit about boxing because I'm the one that said it's on film. And I know you repeated my comment. But, that's my question.
I don't know was there a question in there? I mean, I understand your statement and I respect your opinion on it, but what's
on the hook?
You talking about Fury? When Fury is when Fury?
I don't understand.
Film is on film. Like I said, he's throwing a hook, and the glove bends backwards enough to where your hand would have to be broke for it to rotate that way when you're throwing a hook.
Not really. His hands might have been open in the glove to where his fingertips were touching the tip of the glove. Some guys close them, some guys leave them open.
The legal part of the glove is bent back in 90 degrees.
Let me get to the next call.
I wish you could show that, Frederick. Like maybe he could send you in a clip and you could show
somebody. Okay, yeah, somebody. Oh, you want to break it down?
Who?
You want to break it down, Jack? You want to break down that clip?
No, if you had a video of it, I'd love to see it.
But if someone want to email it to me. Someone want to email me.
I apologize to this dog 215. I keep missing his question, man. I must have missed it again. You must have put it up, but I missed it again when we were talking.
So you going in the Hall of Fame tonight?
And
Jack.
What do you do? And hey, dog 215. What do you do for a living? I want to know. Saving lives. What do you do?
Oh man,
write that. I'll be looking for it.
Yeah. So somebody email me a 10-second clip. Okay, no 2-minute clip. Just email me the clip so he can break it down. And Jack said he'll gladly go over. I don't have time to go on YouTube and search for it and run the show. You know.
I want to say something.
Yes.
You guys might not know this, but I'm hoping that I could change their opinion on me. That they'll see it. There was no cheating involved. I'm a fair person. I'm an honest person. That's all I'm looking for. And I love hanging out with you anyway, Frederick.
Jack,
but What?
Jack, this is the barbershop, dog.
It ain't gonna happen.
Guess what? Everybody coming back next Saturday. We got a guy. We gonna play dominoes in one corner, spade in another corner. Motherfucker coming in selling CDs. Single mom coming in with the fat ass. Man, we just having a good time.
No,
Jack.
I got it. But I wanted to make a statement that I don't know if they know about me. So I was asked, the judges, the scorecards on the first fight. I was asked what I thought, and I said I came out publicly and said I was very surprised because I thought Deontay won the majority of the first 4 rounds, and with the 2 knockdowns, he should have won the fight. I was very surprised when I saw the judges' scorecards afterward. I had it more like Alejandro Ruchin, who gave Deontay 2 or 3 of the first 4 rounds. I thought Deontay's effective aggression was and the stuff he was landing was better than Tyson's Fury's boxing. And I don't know if they know that.
Yeah, that's true, because I actually thought that Fury didn't really throw or land much of anything the first 4 rounds. You know what I mean? I thought he was dancing, like stealing cool points, especially at the end of rounds when he licked his tongue out and he does the shake and he waves because the UK fans are there and stuff like that. And they're
He's just trying to get in his head.
Yeah, they're going to respond to him anyways. You know what I mean? Yeah. See, in the barbershop, when they say you're not ducking no fades, that's a compliment, man. That means you're standing on your square.
I love it.
Oh man, I just put my email in the chat. You got to look it up. It's in there somewhere, man. But yeah, feel free to call in, man. Do you take beam-ins, by the way? That means someone will physically come in on the screen. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll put that too. That way, that'll be an option too. If you
see who I'm talking to too.
Feel free to plug your website.
And I want to say I'm sorry I was messing with that other guy because he was pretty rude, that I didn't know what I was looking at, but there was no cheating involved. That's what I wanted him to know, and there was just no glove gate. There's no just didn't happen. And maybe like you, Fred, you're walking with Deontay all the time. Maybe some guys don't realize that they're going with their heart instead of their head, and they're not believing what they're seeing in front of them. It's like when your girl's cheating on you, believe it. She's cheating on you, man.
Listen, I'm riding with D to the wheels fall off, man. That's my dude in real life.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I'd like to have you having my back.
Yeah, like same way. Like I always tell people, I disagree with Jack, but he's still my friend. For those of you who don't know, every time we're at a fight, Jack always invites me to dinner. Always. Anytime I need a ride somewhere, Jack always offers me a ride from the hotel to the dinner. He in Tennessee, he wanted to take me to get some tacos and stuff like that, but I said no, I want soul food instead, man. So but I'm joking, but yeah, man, we like always say like this is like a traveling circus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like where we each have a role in the circus. We gonna disagree one week, but we got to come back the next week and get it done. You know what I mean? And that's where it is, So he cost me. I'm blaming it on him. He cost me $1,000 in December, and it's okay. We're gonna come back. I got the $1,000 back with Earl. You know what I mean? So I'm breaking even with Jack. You know what I mean? so that's where we're at, man. So, what fights are you looking forward to? Man.
Oh, me or the gentleman on the line? I thought you got somebody on the line.
No one's on the line. No one's on the line. They'll come back in.
I'm very curious to see who Canelo is going to fight next. I'm also very curious to see how Golovkin at this age is going to, does he got anything left? There's so many good fighters out there right now that I want to see again. All the guys we talked about, the Charlo brothers, Spence, Porter, all these guys. I can't wait. It's going to be back in a fury. I can tell you guys this. We already talked about that July 9th in Vegas. Bob Arum is doing that 2 days a week and stuff. There's fights lined up here, like a dozen deep, ready to go right now. Wow. And it's going to come back with a fury because all these guys want to fight. They're training and they have contracts about how many fights. So we're going to see good fights. Now, it ain't going to happen right away. There's going to be a month or two of, say, spring training where they're going to, they get some tune-up fights and stuff like that. But unless we get kicked in the nuts again with another COVID round, man, we're going to have a good second half of the year.
Now, as a fireman, how do you respond to COVID-19, being that you're in the service department?
Well, not only, was I a fireman 31 years, but my wife works in the medical field. She works in a hospital and stuff like that. And so I think it's real. I think you can't be just flamboyant and forget about it and not even think about it. You got to take precautions. People should be social distancing. And now that they're saying, we can go back, like here in Ventura County, we're allowed to go back to restaurants and things like that, opening up salons and stuff like that. You should still wear a mask. They don't know enough about this thing for us to just let it all go and just be back to normal. Mm-hmm. So I think we should be, have precaution. And I want to answer Dog's question. Mm-hmm. So he was asking about Steve Cunningham, ref, who said Fury's the most dirtiest fight ever. So
Eddie Cotton said that.
Eddie Cotton just passed away from COVID-19. I don't know if you guys know the story. Yeah. He volunteered in a COVID-19 hospital area to help people. He caught it and he passed away.
I knew he died from, but I didn't know it was from volunteering.
Well, that fight
spell your website again. Is it SOLE?
Yes, sole arbiter. It's what the term for a referee is in the rule books. It says we are the sole arbiter, the only one who can make a decision. So it's solearbiter.com, one word, SOLEARBITER.com. So getting back to Dog's question about with the Cunningham ref, that's Eddie Cotton, and he reffed the fight with Fury and Wilder, and there were a lot of dirty tactics in that fight, so I can respect what Eddie said. When Cunningham got knocked out, Fury pushed him to the ropes, which you're not allowed to push to gain an advantage. Look, if two guys come together and they both push off each other to get a little distance and fight, that's a good thing. They're separating to get some distance to start fighting again. But one fighter can't push another fighter off balance or push a fighter against the ropes where he has no place to go and then take advantage of that situation. And what happened is Fury pushed Cunningham and against the ropes, and then he stepped in, used his forearm, raised Cunningham's chin, and hit him with a right hand and knocked him out. He was dirty in that fight, and that's another thing I addressed in the dressing room.
Yeah, he said I didn't let him answer your question. I thought we was gonna get the clip, and he was gonna break down the clip. You understand what I'm saying? That's what I thought. Blaze Philly 215. I thought you were gonna get the clip, and he was gonna break down the clip for you. He was actually gonna do you a better one than just answering your question. He was gonna break down the clip. That's what I thought he was gonna do. Yeah,
Frederick, I decided I'm going to stay on here as long as possible. If people keep giving you money to get that $1,000 back, I cost you.
We'll go through that. We'll get out of here. I got to go put some miles, and I got to go run. Man. And I never want to. You know what I mean? I want you excited to come. I want you to call me tomorrow. Man, I had the best time ever, man.
I never had a good time like this on any interview I've ever done.
Oh, man, this is fun. We do this every night during COVID-19. So the past 3 weeks we've had a guest every day, but I'm gonna slow it down because the conversations between us and the patrons are so great that I think we need to have some days where we can just talk. But since March 20th, we've been in here every night having a great.
I want to invite you to something. California's been we've been doing Zoom meeting trainings.
Yeah,
we did a 2-hour one this afternoon. We do them every other Wednesday. I'm going to privately send you the invite offline.
Yeah,
and it's next Wednesday at 3:30 in the afternoon. We show like 4 rounds to judge, and we talk about the scoring. Okay. Today we showed rounds where the fight ended in that round, and the whole round wasn't complete. So maybe a cut or something like that caused the round to be stopped, and you had to score the round. And it was interesting how certain guys looked at it, that whether it's 2 seconds or 2 minutes and 59 seconds, you got to score the round. And a lot of guys took the easy way out and made it 10-10, and that's the bullshit thing to do. We're there to make a judgment. So we talked about that, and then we showed some really wild situations. Let me just remember what they were today. I'll tell you a couple of the fights. Your fans can look at these very odd situations. So round 7 of Ray Mercer versus Shannon Briggs, the way that thing ended. Round 11 of Derek Gainer and Freddie Norwood. It's an old fight, but it ended weird. And the same thing, round 9 of David Tua and Hasim Rahman won. And if the fans want to take a look at those rounds, they'll see it ended in a weird position. And if I come back and you guys want to chat about them, I'll give you the theory of what's supposed to be done to make it right. And that's what we do. So you're going to enjoy this.
Frederick. Oh, that's what's up. I'll be there next Wednesday. We got our first beam in. First beam in. H Money, what's up?
Hey, how's it going, man?
How you doing? How you doing today, my brother Jack Reiss? And how you doing, Fred? I got two questions. It's a two-part question. You know, what's your memories of a referee that passed away, Mitch Halpern? He was a great referee back in the day. What's your memories of him? I know he ref in
Put them together. Put your questions together.
Okay, he refed it at Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield first fight, and I believe he was a part of a fight, and one fighter passed away. You know what I mean? I think that affected him.
Yeah, he was. Listen, I don't know if everybody knows it.
That's your question, H Money. Got it.
I got it. I don't know if everybody knows this, and it's a good thing to bring out. And I'm not being disrespectful, but Mitch Halpern took his own life. The referee took his own life, and it wasn't very long after that situation where H Money's talking about. He refereed Gabriel Ruelas against Jimmy Garcia, and Jimmy Garcia passed away in the fight. And there's been quite a few referees that take their own life. When you can go back and look at a film, when you do something in a moment, then you go back and look at a film, you can't take it back. And then when you see you made a mistake, and God, if it cost somebody their career or their life, I can't imagine what it felt like. But Mitch was a great referee. But he was a troubled guy. He had some things going on, and it's tragic. It's tragic. He left a young daughter, I think, if I remember correctly. But there's been other referees as well that have taken their own life.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you, and thank you, Fred, for having me. And thanks for coming to the barbershop, and we hope you come back. Appreciate it.
Coming back. Thank you.
He having a blast, man. He having a blast.
A good time.
His first time having macaroni. First time macaroni with 3 cheeses. You know what I mean? All right, we got another V-man, man. We got Tank Gleeman. First time. What's up, Tank? How you feel, Tank?
What's good? What's good, Fred?
How you feel?
Hey, Jack. I got one question. It's I know you. I watched a few of your fights that you ref, and usually when somebody knocks another person down, I see you grab their gloves and you rub it on your shirt. And in that Wilder versus Fury, the fight, I didn't see you do that. Is it any reason?
No, maybe I just forgot to do it. And the reason we do it, I don't remember not doing it, but I'll take your word for it. The reason we do it, it comes from an old thing back in the day. They used to use before we had the kind of athletic shoes, the boxing shoes we have now, with the soles that have the like not spikes, the substance on them where they grab the ring. Used to be flat piece of leather, so they used to have this big box by each corner, and the guys would step in this box, and it had resin on the bottom of their feet. The resin would help them not slide on the canvas. But that was like 100 years ago. We don't use resin anymore. But the tradition came in that when a guy falls down and his gloves touch the ground, you didn't want his gloves touching the resin and then hitting the guy in the eye, and the resin burns the guy's eye. But there's no more resin. We wipe it now just to get the debris off it. And in MMA, they never wipe the gloves. Those guys are rolling in this shit, the blood and everything, and they never wipe the gloves. So just one of those traditions.
All right.
Appreciate the call, bro.
Thank you, Tank.
That's love, man. Appreciate it. We got another call. 323. What it do?
What's up, Fred?
Hey.
What's up, Jack?
Hey,
what's up?
What's happening, man? Hey, man, I thought I was gonna have to get on you, man, from just having my disdain towards what happened in that fight. But man, you've been a great asset to the show, man. I didn't think it was gonna turn out this well, man. Hopefully you come back. My question is, have you ever officiated a fight where cheating was discovered, either before the fight, during the fight, or after the fight? And how did you guys go about the steps after that? And then I'll fall back.
Well, it's a great question. Me personally, I haven't seen any egregious cheating. There's always, listen, if you ain't cheating, you ain't competing. And it's the same thing in boxing, man. There's always somebody trying to get an edge. Bernard Hopkins was the greatest master at getting an edge on a guy. If I'm on the right side, he's banging to the knee, he's banging to the hips and banging low, or kidney shots with the opposite hand. You move on the other side, he's doing it with the other hand. He was a great guy to get an edge. But I was in the dressing room the night that Margarito was fighting Mosley at the Staples Center, and our inspectors were. I was at the fight. I didn't ref it.
Oh my God. Okay, take frame for frame. Tell us what happened.
I did the undercard of the fight. I was doing the undercard fights. Okay. So I had done a fight. I went back into the locker room to clean up and stuff like that, clean my hands. And one of the inspectors comes walking into the locker room, who was the inspector in Margarita's dressing room. And our chief inspector touched the wraps of Margarito and felt a hard substance in it. And they cut him off. They took him for evidence and they put it in a box. And he walked into the dressing room. This knucklehead inspector goes, "Hey guys, look what we just found." And he throws me the box and I pull it out and I'm touching these things, man. And it felt like little rocks were in Margarita's wraps. Wow. So, and after that, he never could really win again. So there was definitely something in there. There was definitely something in there. He got suspended for life in California, and our inspectors caught it. And let me say this too. When he fought Cotto the first time, Margarito, I want you guys to watch that fight. Look at the marks on Cotto's head, his swelling. His swelling was little bumps. A soft glove in a wrap can't make little bumps. Only a hard surface, whether it's an elbow, an accidental headbutt, or something in the gloves can make hard little lumps like that. And Cotto's face was lumped up. I firmly believe in my heart of hearts, they had something hard in that surface for their first fight. But I think it was Pacquiao that destroyed Margarito's eye, and he was never the same after that. And when Cotto got him the second time, level playing field, Cotto destroyed him too.
Appreciate. What was he hung up. So
by the way, guy said he wants to be a ref. Steve Lamont Hawkins. Look at the barbershop conversations. Frederick put it up. There's a website. Anybody who wants to be a referee, put your money where your mouth is. I'm teaching a course. You're more than welcome to come.
So you actually saw Nassim Richardson catch him?
Yeah.
Wow.
Nassim, that's right. You're 100% correct. Nassim caught it, told our chief inspector grabbed it and cut it off. I forgot the story. You're right.
Wow, you were actually in there. That's.
I wasn't in the dressing room. I was in my locker room.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? Because they're saying in the chat, Wilder had a lot of bumps on his face too. That's why people were saying, and Wilder is saying, and I believe it to some degree as well, is that quite possibly because Fury went. Okay, I'm gonna frame this and I'm gonna try to lead the horse to water. He didn't really, and this is my personal opinion, Fury didn't look like a knockout artist against Wilder, and Fury won, right?
Yeah. Can I just say something? Donald Brown, answering your question.
Oh,
go watch Andre Ward against Edwin Rodriguez. I got caught with a good shot in the face. The question.
And the second fight, Fury turns into this knockout artist, and how you're describing the lumps. Dang, great point. The lumps on Cotto's is similar to the lumps on Wilder's face. Because I'm like, don't your face swell when you get hit? I thought, it's,
Listen, I'm going to tell you guys something.
Yes.
What a gloved fist does when it makes a cut is totally different when head, bone against bone goes. The shape of the cut, the direction of the cut. When look, you see I'm old. I got a lot of lines on my face. When you get hit with a punch and the leather grabs the skin, it twists the skin and you get cut. You split the lines, whether it's in the eyebrow area. And it's always horizontal with the face. When you see a vertical cut or a jagged cut, I can guarantee you it came from heads colliding, elbows, or something like that.
How about knots?
Knots is usually bone on bone. Unless there's something in the guy's gloves, it's usually bone on bone, shoulder, head, elbow, something like that. Because, like I said, a soft padded glove with soft padding that's wrapped to protect. When they wrap a guy's gloves, when they wrap a guy's wrists and his knuckles, it's not to protect the fighter that's getting hit. It's to protect the guy's hand. They tape over the back here of the knuckle because when the guy hits with his knuckle, this don't break, this breaks. This pops up. So they put tape and wrap here, and then they put padding over here so these knuckles don't break.
Gotcha. So because there's speculation as of now, Deontay Wilder's team hasn't released the actual evidence yet that Fury's gloves was loaded in the second fight. So we'll get to that. I'll have you back on after the evidence is back on. And man, we got to have you once a month for Monday Morning Quarterback, man.
I'm not gonna comment on the referee's performance.
Not the referee's performance, not the obviously not the and that's way fair. That's way fair. Someone sent me the clip of the left hook. Do you want to go through that now?
If I can see it, which fight was it in?
It was this Corona. So this is the first fight? Yeah, because what color was always Fury had the green gloves against
green gloves, I think, if I remember correctly.
Okay, got you. So we'll do it like this. Let me share the share the. All right, cool. I appreciate you, Jack. We going through this. Can you see it? No,
I can see it. Yes.
Okay, let me take this off.
Look at this technology we're doing. It's great.
Man, this is amazing. All right, here we go. All right, I'm going to hit play. I
hope it's slow-mo.
Oh, hold on. Let me take the volume off, just in case I don't get no copyright strike. Now they're talking about this left hook. Explain this left hook. That left hook.
Yeah, his wrist is limp, and he slapped him.
Okay.
His wrist is limp, and he. I told you he flicked. Look at the jab he threw before that. He liked to flick his hands out.
I'll take it back. I'll take it back, and you
look at the jab he threw. He barely straightened it out. That's what I told him. Don't do. You know, if he straightened it out and hit with the front of the hand, but in other fights before, he would flick that out and he would actually hit him with the back of the hand here instead of the wrist. And that's just a sloppy, shitty punch. That's a slap. That don't do nothing but annoy somebody.
Gotcha.
Believe me, if Deontay would have got hit with this part of the hand, it would have hurt him a lot more than this slapping shit.
Okay.
And you could see what he's doing. His hand. I don't even think his hand is closed in the glove. Some guys, you know, when they get wrapped, they're like this and they hold their hands closed. He don't look like he's got his hands closed.
Okay, fair enough. All we can ask for him is to tell him what he thought. That's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's it.
I'm not going to tell Tyson Fury how to fight. If he's going to slap Deontay Wilder, Wilder's going to laugh and walk through it. So it wasn't my job to, you know, tell him what to. Hey man, close your fist and throw a good punch.
Do you want to see a third fight between the guys?
Oh man, I absolutely want to see a third fight between the guys. I want to see a mentally and physically healthy Deontay Wilder and the best Tyson Fury I could possibly see. And let me say something to you, Fred, that I noticed that maybe you guys didn't notice. So when I watched the second fight, I watched as a fan, but when I saw the undercard fight, I looked at the ring and I went, wow, the ring is small. I said, it looks like an 18-foot ring or a 20-foot ring. It ain't 22. It ain't the max. You know what I mean? And the other thing I noticed was that, you know, Tyson Fury had gained a lot of weight for this fight. So I thought, oh shit, he's doing an Andy Ruiz type thing. But now as I look back, they made a smaller ring, less place for Deontay to run. And Tyson Fury comes in heavier weight to lean on him and rough him up, leave his weight on him, and put more power behind his punch. So it might have been a plan. That whole thing, the reason he came in 273 or 274 might have been a plan. Shorter, smaller ring. He has no place to run. I can catch him, rough him up, lay on him, wear him out, and they'll hit. My punches will be harder because I don't even got to think about my weight. I'll just gain weight. So it's part of it.
I'm posting your link. You want to talk about your referee camp and the dates?
Yes.
I'm posting right now.
Yeah, if the guys want to see it. So by demand, I get a lot of referees all over the world calling me and asking me my opinion on something that happened to them in a fight. I also get the same guys, like the guys here on Barbershop, asking me why I did what I did, and I give them my answer. But myself and other guys are getting, we're getting older. I only got a few more years left doing this, healthy, thank God, hopefully good years left. So my commissioner asked us to put something together to prepare young refs to get better and to get new refs to come in and take the older refs that are around, or the guys who've been around 10 to 12 years that are just like flat. They're at a level, have them get better and up their game. So we put together something that's never been done before. It's like umpire school for a baseball ump. It's a 3-day course, 3 long days, 26 hours of classroom and ring instruction with fighters actually in the ring, and you're moving around with them. The first 2 days are in a hotel, PowerPoint presentation with situation after situation after situation that we, try to give you guys the rules, the regulations, and the mechanics and the theory behind what's going on and what you should be doing. And then we give you time to work those mechanics out during that day as well. And the third day is in a gym. We got a gym with 3 rings going. It's out in Ventura. The gym is where Kovalev and Lomachenko and those guys train. So there's 3 rings there. We're going to break up into 3 groups. So everybody's going to get personal attention. And we have fighters playing the roles. We're going to tell the fighter, okay, look, these 2 fighters behind the scenes, we're going to tell them, hey, move around for about 30, 40 seconds. We want to see this guy's movement. Then you knock him down, and when he's on the ground, you hit him with a right hand. And you fall over. And then we're going to grade the guy to see what he does, how he handles it. Then we're going to teach him what he could have done different or better. So it's going to be a great experience. For anybody who just wants to come and check it out and go through the course, it's like a fantasy camp in baseball or something. You could, if any of the ladies out there listening wants to send their husband to a fantasy camp for Father's Day, I'm sure they'll enjoy it. There's going to be some top-notch referees. We're hoping to get some decent fighters in there that everybody can meet. It'll be very intense.
How much is it?
You got to pay for your room, your flight. If you come from another state, and then taking the course for 3 days is $850.
Gotcha.
So it's an expensive investment in yourself, but it's like going to a golf camp for 3 days. It's the same type of thing. And guarantee you walk away from this thing with so much boxing knowledge, and you'll look at things so different than you've ever looked at it before.
Formerly RGBT boxing, right?
Exactly. Now it's the Boxing Laboratory.
What fight?
Reggie, I want to answer the question. Okay. I've never been afraid reffing a fight, but my adrenaline was 110% blown up on the Andre Ward, Edwin Rodriguez fight, because you could feel the tension. You can cut the tension with a knife as soon as you walked in the ring. Those guys hated each other so bad that both camps and both the promoters were attacking me. When I walked in the arena, this guy does this, you better watch that. And there was shenanigans the day before. Edwin Rodriguez came in like 10 pounds overweight, and he gave up $200,000, $100,000 to the state, $100,000 to Andre Ward of his $1 million purse. And then the rule was he had to lose a certain amount of weight by the next day at 9 o'clock in the morning. Somebody from Andre Ward's camp, who's no longer with Andre Ward, stole the scale for the next morning. So the guy would have to keep the weight off. And as long as they could, until they could weigh him closer to the fight, there he have to deprive himself of eating. That's the kind of shenanigans that went on. So that was a stressful situation because I knew it was going to be ugly. Anyway,
wait. Time out. Edwin Rodriguez had to make weight. Ward's team stole the.
So they made weight. They weighed in the day before the fight. Fred.
Take us all the way back. Take us back again.
The weigh-in happened the day before the fight. Friday night.
Friday.
Rodriguez was 10 pounds overweight. He immediately forfeited $200,000. I believe that was the amount. Maybe it was 100, but I know it was a lot of money. At least 100. So Andre Ward got half. The state got half. But then the stipulation in the clause was to make it a championship fight, he had to lose a certain amount of weight by the next morning at 9 a.m. for a re-weigh-in. So the re-weigh-in was coming at 9 o'clock, and at 8:45, somebody from Ward's camp stole the scale, so he would have to keep that weight off later in the day.
That's an amazing story, man. And
that's boxing, man. That's boxing.
Last super chat, man. I know.
I have no idea what this means.
Oh, the deep state. Are you with the boxing deep state?
Yeah, what am I?
I don't know. I don't know what that means.
The conspiracy theorists, I guess.
Oh man, Jack, dude, you are a hell of a guest, dog.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you,
man. This shit has been fun.
Freddie, every time we're together, you and I have fun.
People don't believe us because they think, oh, you know what I mean? Because I'm so pro my culture that I can't have like no non-black friend because I'm such an advocate of black fighters and all that. And like me and Jack are cool, man. I'm telling y'all, man. Me and Jack are cool, man. And Jack, you a cool son of a gun, man. I appreciate you coming.
For an old white guy, right? I'm okay.
No, man. And I've learned a lot from you. I'm gonna tell you one thing. That conversation that I had with you when we was waiting on the plane to come back to LA, me, you, and
Joe Goosen, man, we're going at it. I loved it.
Going at it, yeah. See, the fans don't see that. The fans don't see that. But like we got.
And that's a tough guy to disagree with, man. And you were holding your own, dude. I'm telling you.
Yeah. The fans don't see that, and see, people think that when you disagree, you got to be at each other's necks. You know what I mean? It's just we disagree and we move on. That's just the way I feel. I'm not gonna sit there and fight with, if a man is stuck on his decision, he's stuck on his decision, man. But that was fun. That was like a 2-hour conversation or something like that.
We were delayed for a while. Hey, Mills, to answer Donald Brown, Mills Lane had a stroke. He's still alive, but he's incapacitated. He doesn't speak very well, so he stays out of the mainstream right now. His sons are doing some promoting, and Richard Steele is healthy, wonderful. He has a gym in Vegas. He lets us use it for training. He's very active in boxing still, helping young guys become better fighters as well as referees all the time.
Yeah, Blaze Philly still saying, how did I let you down? He answered your question about the left hook. He said he just landed with an open fist. What more do you want? You want him to email you? You want him to email you the answer? What do you want him to do? Personally call you and give you the answer? He went above and beyond and answered your question, man. Come on, man. Cut it out, man. Cut it out. You know what I mean? But man, it was.
And the blood on the wraps. I don't know whose blood it was, but we get blood on the wraps all the time. Wraps come up bloody all the time from when guys are bleeding. The gloves. You saw how in when the clip that they showed. I don't know what round it was, but you could see the gap. Let me try to get in here. You could see the gap between the skin and the glove. There was a gap. His hand was moving around. So blood and sweat and shit gets down there all the time. I walk out of those fights, I have blood all over me.
Yeah.
All over me.
How Evander Holyfield, but you may get the fight, so I can't comment on that, man.
No, I don't want to even talk about anything that could happen.
Thank you for coming in tonight, man. You were absolute gem, dog. I'm so honored to have you in here, man.
Come on, we're friends. How could you be honored to have me in here?
This was fun as hell, dog. This was freaking fun.
This was fun. It was definitely fun.
It was fun, man. And on behalf of all the patrons in the barbershop, man, I just want to, I'm gonna give you the floor and the final word, but I just want to say thank you, dog, man. I genuinely appreciate you, and no matter what they say, they 100% appreciate you coming in, dog, for real.
Thank you. I love hanging out with you. We always mess with each other, goof on each other, and have fun. And we disagree. We agree to disagree. And I just wanted to portray to everybody, I'm not afraid of any questions. I'm not a cheater. I'm not dishonest. So you can't ask me something that that I'm not going to be able to answer and give you my honest answer on it. If you guys see it a different way, I just ask you to consider: are you thinking with your heart or your head? Because you can't deny sometimes what's right in front of you. So I can't wait to see Deontay Wilder come back because he's a man. He's a warrior, and he'll be back, and he's going to be doing great. And I'd like to see them fight again, man. I'd really like to see them fight. Thank you, Jarvis. Appreciate your comment. And Fred, I appreciate you
all the time. I
appreciate
you, man. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming on.
Right, and my wife appreciates. She liked what you guys were doing.
Appreciate.
Thank you, guys. Thank
all
you.
The time.
I see all the stuff. So thank you guys for your comments.
They great. Wait till you read the last 10 minutes of the comments, man. They appreciate you, dog, for real.
Cool. Then I guess we'll do it again, and we'll
anytime.
Hopefully we'll break down some stuff. I would love to have you guys come and give me situations, whether it was me. In fact, if it's not me, it's even better.
Yes. So
say, hey, look, this happened in this fight. What should have been done? And I'll tell you what should have been done, or what the rule says.
That's love. Okay. Yeah. So here's what we'll do. You'll probably come on in a month, maybe 2 months. In the meantime, in between time, all right, you guys are gonna get an early announcement when Jack is coming on. Okay. Now, when you guys have a question, he's gonna do scenarios. You guys are gonna send me email me the scenarios, and we'll go through the scenarios when he come on. We'll do maybe up to 3 scenarios or something. Y'all email me a scenario. Y'all got to edit the scenario, okay? And then ask the question, and he'll gladly answer it. You know what I mean? And
that would be great. That would be great. And if you guys, if you can, go like the page or go like my Facebook page or whatever. I'm supposed to ask people to get hits on shit. So
yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, they going. If you want to learn how to be a referee, Go to his website. Go to his website. Okay. Go to his website and support him. Go to his Facebook page and support him. You know what I mean? He just spent 2 hours with us and was as candid can be, man. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm grateful. I'm grateful and thankful. You know what I mean? Thank you for sure.
Thank you guys too. You guys weren't too hard on me. It was just like growing up where I grew up. So it was all good.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate
All right. Good night. And Fred, I hope I get to see you real soon at some fights, man. And you got to break away from the shit you're doing and come with me to the rules meeting.
I will.
Especially if it's a big fight and you know the guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Especially.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good because it's going to give you perspective. So I said it now.
And then I'll be able to converse it to the fans. Appreciate you.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks, Jack.
Take care, man.
All right, one.
Bye.
All right. Bye. Where else can you get this at, man? Are y'all sitting here? Are y'all serious? This had to be the most fun show ever, dog. Y'all kidding me? Man, y'all kidding me? This shit was fun as hell, dog. Y'all better stand up and give Jack Reiss a fucking round of applause wherever the hell you at, man. How the fuck a motherfucker come in here and say, I'm not ducking nothing. I don't know who's calling in. I don't know what you gonna ask. He answered every question as honest as he can be. This conversation ain't about what me and Jack talk about. I can talk to him at the fight. So yeah, if y'all want me to control the conversation and ask him and rebuttal, nah, it's about y'all. That's why we in the barbershop. So y'all can ask him the questions. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful thing when you have a platform where the fans can call in and ask the subject the question. That's what it is. It's not about me conversing with Jack. Jack and I have already had this conversation already many times. You know what I mean? So, I mean, you're not going to get the same energy. It's going to be like, I know what he's going to say. He know what I'm going to say, and we're going to move on. You know, give Jack a round of applause. Go to his Facebook page, okay? Tell him thankful. Go to his Instagram page. Tell him thankful. Share his boxing camp. I'm going to promote it on my next couple of videos. We're going to promote it. And if you know someone that wants to be a part of it, let them know, man. I mean, this show was fucking incredible, dog. Man, Jack fucked around and got 2 haircuts. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? This was fucking fun, man. And you know what I mean? I'm just honored to have him on, man. And thank you, Jack. I'm sure you'll watch the end of this video, man. I genuinely appreciate you coming on, and you can tell by the comments, and they definitely appreciate you coming on, man. Do someone want to come in and wrap up the show? DB gone. I ain't seen DB all night. You know what I mean? But if anybody want to call in and wrap up the show, man. Hey, Reggie Owens, call in and wrap up the show, man. Call in and wrap up the show, man. If you in here. This show was fucking fun, dog. This show was so full. I actually could have kept him on another hour, man. I'm like, nah, man, I ain't gonna kill him like that. Cause hey, how fun was this fucking show, dog?
Man, that was a great show. But DB is in here. He under another name in there.
Oh, is he?
I'm gonna let him. Yeah. So I'm gonna let him close it out. But I want to say, man, great shit, Jack Reiss. Great shit, Fred, man. Excellent show, man.
This show was fun, dog. Man. Yeah, man.
Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna fall back so DB can call in.
Okay, for sure.
All
right, peace. Asia Map, what's up to DB calling? What's up?
Yeah. This will be real quick. I wonder if you could get Mills Lane next. That was going to be the next question I asked him. What was this relationship like with Mills Lane?
Okay. I'll ask him. I'll ask Jack.
Okay. All right, DB, call on in so you can wrap it on up.
Yeah, this show was fucking amazing, dog. I had so much fun.
It wasn't the best ever though, Fred.
He was a great guest, man. I ain't gonna. I'm great is great. You know what I mean? And he was a great guest. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. I'm not knocking it.
We always have great shows. We always have great shows. We're not gonna
be prisoners of the moment. You know, this was his first time.
Sometimes it's great to be prisoners of the moment. This was a great show.
Yeah, it was.
I'm not gonna let you take my joy away. I'm gonna be pragmatic when I hang up when I end the show. Do you mind that? Can I be a prisoner of the moment? Just like when Deontay Wilder.
But you were speaking for the general. And I was, saying, hey.
Just like when Wilder knocked out Fury. I was a prisoner of the moment. It's over. I was screaming, it's over. It's over. I'm about to get my $1,000. I was sitting next to the guy. I was about 10 feet away from the guy that I bet $1,000 cash. It's over. It's over. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is, man. Don't steal my joy, man. Don't steal my joy.
Fred, once again, you have your joy 10 times fold. You know what I'm saying? Tomorrow night you're gonna be saying this is the greatest show
absolutely
ever.
Right. You're absolutely right. Because guess what? We got better. Guess what? We got better.
All right. Salute everybody. Salute, chat.
Yeah. Well, damn, you trying to steal my joy, Asia. From a man's perspective, every new woman he gets, it's the best he's ever had, dog. It's the best. Oh my God, how was I, babe? Oh, you were the best I ever had. Oh, you were amazing. Oh, your ass is perfect. Your legs is perfect. Come on, man. Stop acting like. Come on, man. Well deserved. Drink more. Well, it was a hell of a show, dog. It was a hell of a show. I enjoyed it. It went by stupid fast. Where DB at? DB ain't in here, man. I guess Reg, come on and somebody tell me to play the song, man. Where Reg at? Reg's not in here, man. Reg's not in here. Someone close out the show for me, man. Someone got to tell me to play the song. JJ, where you at, man? Somebody tell me to play the song so we can get out of here. I got to go run. I got to go put some miles in real quick. And I don't want this show to extend beyond our joy. 70, what's up, man? How you been?
Been good, man. I've been cooling back, man. Hey, man, that was a great show, man.
This show wasn't it fun, dog? Different perspective,
fun, bro. Like he wasn't no bitch either. Like motherfuckers was talking reckless. He get their ass back. You feel me?
Yeah, man. I loved it because I said, man, you coming into the barbershop, man. I don't know, man. He was about that life. Hey,
yeah, bro. Like he was, and he wasn't no bitch. Like he answered every question. Like that's a motherfucking man.
Yeah, that's a man. Like people don't understand when a man vehemently disagrees with you, move on. Like it's it. He's not changing his mind. You know what I mean? If you're a Republican, I'm a Democrat. You're not going to convince me to be a Republican. I'm not going to convince you to be a Democrat. You get what I'm saying? Just move on and let's go. Ask the next question. You know what I mean? But this was a hell of a show. What you got for me, TB?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, I ain't really had nothing, bro. I just wanted to say, bro, like, hey, man, I've been catching all the stuff, bro. Doing a great job, man.
Thank you, dog.
Wanted to call in.
But you got to tell me to do something, man. You playing TB's role tonight.
Play the song, Fred.
Hey, I appreciate you, dog. I appreciate everybody coming in tonight, man. This show was fucking fire. Play the song, Fred. MXE, Peoples Hernandez, what it do, Batman, Anab, Champion's Heart. What up, E? You didn't call in, big homie. Ronnie, DOG, he ducked you, man. You think he ducked? Nah, he looked for you should have super chatted at 95 cents. If y'all had a question y'all wanted, all you had to do was super chat. He saw it. You know what I mean? He ain't ducking nothing. He taking all fades. What up, Mura J.A.? What up, man? The one that's going to give it to you. Eric, what's up? Appreciate the call, E. Batman. What's up, sir? Appreciate your gifted soul. Bring Young Pharaoh on. Yeah, that would have been cool too. Bubba C, Eli. Yeah, Young Pharaoh's a strong brother, man. He gonna make great waves in this world, man. Blaze, Philly 215. What's up? What's up? CMB, Donald. What's up? Batman, TB, Lavelle. Drink more water. Great show. We in here. Sing this shit together. I'm hyped, dog. For yo, bro.
Can't take it personal, cause the devil is a liar. I'm telling you the truth, babe. It's only what you do, babe. So things you gotta do,
Hey, I appreciate you. Okay, so you should have put it in again. You should have called in, DOG. You should have called in. You actually did call in. You actually did. He answered it, right? Jeffrey, I appreciate you, man. Yeah, man. Sleep on that, man. This was a hell of a man. Because Jack is alive. Hey. Kenyatta Ali, appreciate you, man. Boxing Champ, I appreciate you. You gotta talk a little louder, big homie. Talk a little louder, big homie. You know what I mean? Man, this was a good show, man. We got David Benavidez and family tomorrow night. David Benavidez family tomorrow night. It's gonna be a fun show. And yeah.
This my personal statement. Run the game like I'm ASICs. Learn to develop patience, determined to be the greatest. Yeah, bobbing and weaving, they changing up like the seasons. Indigenous to the grind, so I do it for all my people. Jabbing the competition, back up against the ropes. You fighting for recognition, I'm fighting just to promote equality where we lacking. Or cancer slowing our road. I'm confident we'll make it. We focus on common goals. Yeah.
Give back, give love, give insight to the way. Never give up, stand tall to fight another day. 2 toes, 2 feet, I stand on the ground. I'm going back soon and fight this final round. That's a paper, no soul. Learn quickly, they'll come for your blow. Can't get back, can't take it up slow. Cause the devil is alive. Hey,
I'm telling you the truth. Hey,
it's all in what you do. Hey, some
things you gotta do. Hey, 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 Carl, I appreciate you, man. Last time, this is Jack Reiss website, man. Go to it, support him, man. Tell him thank you for coming on, man. Thank you for coming on, man. He could have spent 2 hours with his wife tonight, man. They could have watched a Lifetime movie or something. You know what I mean? Go to his website, man. I appreciate you, Jack Reiss, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate it. Make sure you close that back window, big homie. All right, barbershop conversations, man. I love all y'all, man. And I talk to y'all tomorrow night, man. That's love, man. Appreciate y'all.